Yes, good evening. Welcome back to Football Heritage TV, the Spurs review. We've got a couple more people that are running late. Manny has messaged me to let me know he is running late. Mark hasn't messaged me to let me know he's running late. And we might be getting Chris joining us as well. And Lubo, if he gets back from the game in time, yada, yada, yada. James, before we talk about football, how are you? Forget football. How are you? You all right?
Yeah. Personally, I'm busy with work being the winter, but other than that, mate, I'm personally, I'm well. Thank you. Yourself, barring football.
Yeah, do you know what? Literally, I finished streaming about an hour ago and I went downstairs and thought, I've got dinner, had myself a bit of cheesecake for dessert, and I was so happy and went, oh, fucking hell, I've got to go and, got to go and talk about Tottenham again.
Yeah.
Oh, dearie me. James, not the greatest game of football Tottenham are ever going to play, and against Arsenal as well. I think everything's just kind of compounded right now that the fan base is at boiling point. And just to give you an idea, I've got a poll out in the chat, and if everyone could please vote. The poll is this: it just says, how do you feel about the manager? And the options are Frank in, Frank out, needs time, on thin ice. Frank in is only 19%. Frank in is 19%. James, talk to me today. Tough game.
Yeah. Very, very tough. And I look, every fan is reactionary, and I do get it. But for me, the thing that I worry about most is why ain't we getting a bit of fight against the likes of Chelsea and Arsenal? I'm not expecting to win. I'm not happy to lose. I expect us to lose, but a little bit of fight would be
very
appreciated. Yeah, like I said, I'm not expecting to win, but there was nothing for me that I kind of took away from that game and thought, well, at least at some point we gave it a go. We didn't give anything a go. We kind of like rolled over and said, you can have the win here, we'll move on.
Yeah, it's difficult, isn't it? I mean, first half, it's look, we'll talk about the effort, we'll talk about the selection, everything in a minute. I feel like my overwhelming feeling is if I feel like we are what Arsenal were when Arteta took over. I feel like we are with them 6 years ago. Now, I'm not saying we're going to follow the same path, but it's very, very tough, isn't it? We saw today men v boys. I don't think that's me being rude. I think it was men v boys in terms of attitude, work rate, ability, technique, squad togetherness, direction. I just felt like it was completely opposite ends of the spectrum today, James.
Oh yeah, absolutely, and I couldn't disagree more. Agree more. Sorry, not disagree. Agree more. But for me, it was. So I said on Wednesday on Lubo's show, I said at some point we are as fans going to have to say, you know what, it is what it is. We need to just take the hit, and I feel like we're taking the hit now, and a lot of us don't want to kind of just sit there and keep taking and taking and taking. I also think that there's going to have to be players that people actually like that need to go out of the door. So whether that is a Romero, whether that is a Van der Ven or a Vicario or a Maddison, whoever it may be, there are going to be moments where we're going to say we need to like sell to get a bit of money in and rebuild. And the only, like you said there, the only manager I can kind of half compare it to was Arteta. When he come in, Lacazette went out, Aubameyang went out. These were all players that were their better players, or not their better, but big names.
But on paper, the names were the better names, weren't they? Yeah.
So
I agree.
Are we at some point going to say? I mean, I don't think this, but a lot of people think Udogie is fantastic. Are we going to have to say, you know what, Udogie and Porro, you guys ain't ready for us. We need someone like a Robinson in, from Fulham, someone like that. I would be happy to see that. It's just for me. It's just the passion that's going into the games that I'm not happy with.
before I bring the others in, and big up to Manny and big up to Lubo. And I know it's not the nicest of circumstances to be jumping onto a show. And don't worry, I've honestly, since I stopped streaming, I'm even getting trolls on my emails now. Like, it's not just in YouTube. I'm getting people email me abuse. I've had somebody email me tonight saying they're going to find me and kill me. That's because of Thomas Frank, by the way. Let that sink into your minds. Thomas Frank loses the game of football, we're going to come and kill you, Savva. Anyway, I'll wait. If I die, you know what it is. James, just before I bring the other guys in, and we will deep dive into the tactics, the team, whatever. Is there a case, James, where there are certain players that I feel like have been talked about for years as being really good players, and we always blame a manager, we always blame tactics, and we blame some reason why they're going to be better? Could it be that some of these players aren't just as good as we think? And I'll mention names. I'll piss people off. I don't care. Porro. Everyone talks to you about one of the best right backs in the league. I watch Porro. I'm always underwhelmed. Adogi. I keep hearing how good he is going forward, and he gives us width, and I think does fuck all with the ball in the final third. Odegaard is another one. I think he is useless. Tell. Johnson. Bentancur we could put in there. I'll say it. I'll piss off Luke. I think the Greys, the Bergfelds. I feel like we've built a very, very average squad. He's gone. I don't know where he's gone, but I feel like we've built a very average squad of footballers, James, that I don't know if I'm actually talking to him now.
I'm here. I'm here.
I feel like we've built a very average squad of footballers that people seem to always hype up that are better than they are.
I agree. I completely agree. And I find that there's definitely a lot of scapegoating. So people will pick one player, and that player will be the favourite of the month rather than look at the problem. Like you said there, for me, Udogie has had maybe 4 or 5 good games, and people talk to me about like the potential he's going to be turning into the next Roberto Carlos, which is just baffling. What they'll do is they'll pick out a certain person that's actually had more games than bad, i.e. Bentancur. Vicario got it a few weeks ago. Oh, he needs to be sold. He's the worst keeper. He's the one that we're losing all these games from. But yet he saved us in probably 5 or 6 of those games. And again today, that could have been 7, 8, 9-0 if Vicario weren't in that game. I mean, people do like to scapegoat players for me, and that's the problem. I mean, like we said, Udogie, Porro, people will always turn a blind eye to those because they think that there's potential, and I don't see potential. Odegaard falls in that as well.
Yeah, look, let me start. Manny, Lubo, Sean, show, guys. Yeah, all right, Sean. If you're right there, you're not all right.
I can't wait. I can't wait for the fucking. I cannot wait for the entrenched defenders of the defenders. The agendas have to agenda. I can't wait to hear this one. Let's hear it.
I don't think anyone's agending anything. We haven't even started the show. Manny,
there'll be some agendas that are going to agenda today.
Lubo, we saw the back three. People wanted the back three. We saw the back three.
Yeah.
I'll be honest. I thought Arsenal navigated it absolutely spot on against that back three. I'll be honest, I've not been one that's been screaming for it. I don't mind the back three at times. I didn't think today was the right time to try it. I think they're too good for us to try it against them. And I thought first half we looked absolutely horrific, Lubo. What did you make of the team selection and the back three and everything?
Team selection, the only changes, I went with the back three. Mm-hmm. The only changes I possibly would have made would have been Simmons for Odegaard and Mawani for Richie. Mm-hmm. The rest of it, I thought, Woods sort of fell into place. You know, he's always going to play the 3 centre backs. You know which of the 3. Spence, I thought, was a better decision, was a better selection than Porro, because we're going to be without the ball for an awful lot, and Spence is a better defender. So I thought, you know, that's a better choice. I think the one thing that worries me, we're always going to get beaten. They've got much better players than us. The one thing that is non-negotiable for me is that if you go out and you get beaten 2 or 3-0, you go out and you give 100% and you're fired up for North London derby. And I was listening to Vicario come on after the match. We walked out on 78 minutes. And I haven't left that early for a very long time. We were 4-1 down. Then they had a shot that Vicario took out the top corner. And I thought to myself, do you know what? We all looked at each other and said, come on, let's go. So I'm not even seeing the last 15 minutes. I don't know whether they carried on bearing us and we got away with a bigger defeat or not. But what bothered me again, Vicario came on again and he said that I'd like to apologise to the fans. We weren't there. We didn't, the effort, the intensity wasn't there basically. And he said exactly the same thing against Chelsea.
Yeah.
Now, number one,
people are going to stop believing it, right? People are going to stop believing it if he has to keep saying it, right?
Well,
once is okay, but
no. The point is that players are going to be more. They're going to have pride in their appearance, pride in their performances. I just don't get how players can come out in a North London derby.
That's on the manager.
And for me, it's the manager and the players. Why isn't Frank firing them up? And why? And the other, the other thing,
he sets them up not to lose, Lubo.
No, but
that's not the same as fight and passion.
Players should be up. Players should be up for it. There's
no
question
want to give the geezer
about
time.
They should be up for it.
I think it's both. Lubo, I think it's both. I think you're right. You've got to question Frank how.
So for me, he's
got it out of them.
Sad,
but I've got to question the players as well. It's a North London derby. Like
that's right.
If I'm playing for Tottenham Hotspur, my manager's got to rile me up. Of course, my manager's got to rile me up. But aren't I riled up in my aren't I?
But you're going out. You're fighting for the badge. This is pride. So for me, if Frank can't get them up for a game, that is a major worry. And this is the second time this has happened. This is starting to become a habit. And what's sort of bothering me, and I'm very much franking, and I'm looking at this. I'm looking at the level of the squads, the capability of the squad. We're miles off Arsenal, miles off Arsenal.
Why?
So you expect to go there and you expect to get beaten today. So in terms of losing, I went there not expecting anything. I thought that chance in the first minute when Vicario saved it. After that, the next half an hour, I thought it was poor from us, but Vicario didn't have a shot in that half an hour before they scored those 2 goals in a few minutes.
I can ask you just quickly. See, from my point of view, said before the game, for me, I can forgo the quality side of it. I know Arsenal, man for man, 1 to 11, not one of ours gets in their team, in my opinion. Not one of ours. I think they're so far above us in quality-wise. It's embarrassing. What I can't forego is, especially the first half, is the fight. That is what I can forgo that we lose to them. I can forgo that it's men v boys in terms of ability, because I think I genuinely think their players compared to ours are superior in every way, shape, or form. But the fight in that first half, second half was a bit better. First half was
appalling. It was dreadful.
That's what I can't get with.
It was dreadful. It reminded me the until they scored, it actually reminded me a bit of going to Anfield last year in the League Cup, and we just sat back and just defended, and there was no ambition. There was nothing. And, looking at it now, I can see that if you play a back three, and to be honest with you, if players aren't giving 100% and they're not fighting for the badge, it actually doesn't matter whether you're going to play a 3-5-2, 5-3-2, 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1. Actually doesn't matter.
Because it's not about... Hang on a second, mate.
Because it's about effort.
Lubo. Hang on a second, mate. Hang on a second. To sit there and pretend like that entire system, the way it fell apart was because the individual players didn't care, and to put absolutely none of it on the defensive setup is absolutely disgusting. It's a disgusting take. The geezer, Thomas Frank, is on Brentford settings. He thinks I'm terrified of anyone with a team that has ever played against me in the past. I am terrified of them. He is telling these people it's by design. It's always been by design. I have said this
in
to you
your
guys.
opinion, it's
Well,
been
hang on a
by
second.
design.
Let me land.
Yeah.
I've said this to you guys for weeks. I've given you evidence. I've shown you screenshots against the dustiest of dustiest teams. That is Manchester United, who came to Tottenham and sat off. They didn't do what Arsenal did today. Against Arsenal, fair enough. You can expect the pressure. Manchester United didn't put any pressure on us. They weren't doing the man-to-man marking. They weren't doing the man-to-man press. They weren't like pressing us like orange juice. And yet we still sat off, where you saw Xavi Simons sitting there on the halfway line with everybody behind the system. This is by design. Thomas Frank is shit scared. He is a terrified, I was setting up not to lose manager. I'm not calling for his sack. I will say I'll give him the credit like you have to give everyone. Give him a year. But this fan base will not accept this bullshit methodology for 12 months. They will not accept it. Yes, the players didn't turn up, but it stems from the top. It always does. And Lubo, you are someone that has always said it's all from the top. Everything's from the top. Levy was the problem. It was his motif. It was his mentality. It was his directive that penetrated through everybody else. That geezer's gone. Where's the next model, right? Thomas Frank comes in. He is terrified. His system is set up petrified of everything else. A SWOT analysis takes place before every game, and the outcome is who are the threats and how can we possibly stop them, rather than sitting there and saying, actually, we can get at Calafiori. We can actually get at Julian Timber. Hang on. I'm almost done, right? But like, there are people out there that are already embedding their opinions. I'm not embedding my opinions. I'm more than happy to see something from Thomas Frank for me to believe in him. I have seen absolutely nothing from this geezer that represents the Tottenham way. Explain to me why it is that we can't play football.
Okay, but to do that,
playing football.
Sean, we don't have
what is the Tottenham way?
That's
to play football. It's Arsenal, Savva. It's Arsenal. You don't have to win the war. But you have to try to win the battle. You have to fucking give a shit. It's the battle. It's Arsenal versus Tottenham.
Calm down. That's not what I asked you.
I agree, Sean.
You said the Tottenham way. I'm asking, what is the Tottenham way? It's afraid
to play football. To win the ball back, to get it on the floor, and to play football. Single time.
Buy the players that play.
Let me ask the question. You asked me the question. Let me answer it. Every single time we got the ball back, we played a back five today. And by the way, I am not in any way suggesting that the back three is a failed motif. Some people will. Some people will say, in fact, I saw it on my own chat in my live stream. I saw people come in going, you asked for the back three, you got the back three. How did that work out? Like the back three was the reason why we lost. I agree with Lubo. It doesn't matter what formation you play. If the motif behind it is to sit there, you can have a back four and then two in front and a 3 and a 1 on paper. If the second that you lose the ball, you go to a 5-4-1, and the second that you win it back, you just lump it forward to Richarlison. Sure. But everybody else, hang on a second, everybody else is still stuck in your final third. You're just giving it back up. At half time, I looked at the stats on SofaScore, and it tried to suggest that we had 33% of possession, Savva. I don't know what the hell that was talking about. We don't. When you say what's the Tottenham way is to get the ball back, get it on the floor, and play football. We didn't do that. We just banged it long and gave it up every time.
Sure, but there has been many occasions. Let me bring Manny. Because Manny hasn't talked yet. Manny, I've been someone that, listen, I'm not condoning what we've seen at all, and I know because I've backed Frank, people have automatically said that without me actually even saying anything. Really, right? I don't condone what I saw today, but what I will always stand my ground with is there is a reason why these players can't play good football and dominate games and see games out. Is because I don't think we've got the footballers to do it in any way, shape or form. I have said for a long time, I think this is one of the worst Tottenham squads I've seen. I think it's painfully average. I don't think any of our midfielders are capable of passing a ball. We saw it today. Bentancur gets it, gives it away. Paulinho gets it, gives it. By the way, Paulinho was brilliant at the getting it bit, gives it away. Odegaard just runs into blind alleys. Kudus today runs into blind alleys. I don't think we've got the players to play whatever this mythical Tottenham way is. But the problem I've got with it, Manny, is lots of people calling for a manager's head after 12 games. Problem is, Manny, if we do this, aren't we just going to be back with a new manager next week, same group of players, no matter what the style, whether it's defensive, attacking, gung-ho, results will roughly be the same, and we'll be sitting here in 3 months going, well, this isn't the guy I want to build a project with. Let's go for the next guy. Aren't we in danger of that, Manny, with the whole Frank out narrative?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I haven't come across a lot of people that want Frank out, right? Maybe might be due to the people that I watch, the people I listen to. I'm not entirely sure. That's the first thing. I don't want Frank out. I think he needs time. He needs a few transfer windows. Agreed. You know, set that onto the back burner. My second point is that when we look at the gulf in quality between the two teams, it was like night and day, right? You could see that with Arsenal, it was literally years and years of building and years of backing and years of transfer windows, which has allowed them to get really, really, really good technical players and also players that fully understand their manager. Again, the golf is not what I have an issue with. When I looked at the setup that we had with the three at the back, I actually didn't have any issue with it. The reason why I didn't have any issues with it is because when we went three at the back against PSG at the start of the season, what we did to counteract what we lacked, which is, you know, being able to play the ball properly, was we pressed them high. That is where I have an issue with today, is the fact that we set up with three at the back. We've set up with Udogie and Spence on the left and on the right. But instead of pressing them high, instead of going up a few yards and pressing them high on the ball, we sat back. Now, someone will say, listen, Arsenal will pick you off. But if we are going man for man, which is what we're doing, because if you look at the way Van de Ven was going all the way up to the person who was sat in the pocket. Romero was going all the way up to press the other person that was sat in the other pocket. So if we're going man for man, in my opinion, we should have just gone all the way up and pressed them high up. That is my issue. When I don't think, you know, Sean said Frank lacks brevity. I don't know whether that's even a word, right? I don't think I don't think he's not brave, right? I think what the plan was, I don't think he wasn't courageous, right? I think genuinely what the plan was: sit back, lump it up to Richarlison, bring Kudus and Odegaard in, and then bring in the wing backs, and then we attack. The issue again that I have with something like that is everyone. This is Savva, yourself, Sean. I've heard Lubo. I've heard James. Everyone knows Richarlison can't hold the ball up. So then I start questioning. Okay, but
it's so bad.
I know.
Oh, hold up. That wasn't the start. It was part of the start, Manny. If you don't mind, me just pushing.
Yeah,
back.
sure. Go on.
Give me 10 seconds. I want to push back on you specifically. So I agree with you. Like Richarlison's a problem. We all know that Richarlison's a problem. Okay, but the model was a back five. It wasn't a 3-4-2-1. Or it wasn't a 3-4-3. It was very clear from literally within the first minute that Kudus was as narrow as you could possibly imagine.
He was even going all the way to the other side.
Correct, right? And then Odegaard was sort of playing as some sort of false 10, right? He was just floating around. And listen, to be honest, I backed Odegaard, right? I called him Heisenberg. He was absolutely irrelevant today. He was horrendous and irrelevant in every way, shape, or form. So, you know, I'll take that one on the chin. But when you do that system, what's the outcome of that system? Right, you've got to think about that. So you've got Quentin Timber, and you've got Jurian Timber rather, and you have Gidge on the left side, Calafiori, who have absolutely no threat. They have no threat to worry about. They have absolutely nothing to consider at all because we've gone entirely narrowed down the middle. And as a consequence, like, the option, if you're going to throw it up long, you want that message to get back to the team to go, like, if Richarlison isn't good at holding the ball up, right, he's going to get buried. He's going to get absolutely buried, as he did all day long by by Saliba all day long, right? And by Hincapi all day long. Every time he got the ball launched up to him, he lost every single aerial duel. So where's the space? Well, the space is the consequence of the fact that you're not going down the width. So Timber and Calafiori is up. So put it into the channel. Where was that message? Where was that message? This shit comes from the box. Comes from the sideline, Manny. Last question. Well, not last question. Last thing I want to point out, and I'd love you to come back on this. A lot of people, myself included, have thought that Cochrane is supposed to be Thomas Frank's right-hand man. Whenever the camera points towards Thomas Frank and he's having a conversation with someone, Cochrane is just like a gopher. He's just writing down notes on a piece of paper. Thomas Frank is speaking. Whoever he's speaking to, Cochrane is just there writing down notes on a piece of paper. I always thought that Cochrane was supposed to be the guy, like his right-hand man that was looking at the detail, looking at the data, looking at his iPad, looking at whatever they're doing, and then somehow that stuff would disseminate over to the team. I was watching it. I was on my channel. I'm sure Savva had like 4 times more people watching his show than I did. There was like four or five different people in my chat that were bringing on unbelievably insightful tactical insights. They were all spot the fuck on. They were all spot on. Savva, I'm sure you had like 3 or 4 times as many. There was absolutely no communication whatsoever from Thomas Frank and from Cochrane and from his team, despite all the note taking, despite all the iPad, this and that. There was absolutely no communication at all. Once it was very clear that Arteta had figured out how we were going to interpret the game, and that has to be questioned, Manny. It has to be questioned.
No. But my main thing is, right, and that's completely fair, right? But in my opinion, the fact that Frank changed it, brought in Xavi Simons at a halftime was him saying, "I got it absolutely wrong." The point I was trying to make about Richarlison, right, is the fact that everyone knows Richarlison can't hold the ball up. Is that if that was Tony up front, I would have been like, right, the tactics is spot on, all good. Tony's going to bring it down, bring people into play, and then we attack. Richarlison doesn't do it. So the fact that he started Richarlison in the first place was a bit worrying for me because, in my opinion, I know people are going to say it doesn't matter that Tell would have started. I would have started Tell because I would have said, right, let's press them up. But then that goes, and this is
none of them are good enough, though, Manny, are they?
I know that. But Savva, hold on.
The forwards with a mass. Tell, Mawani, Richarlison, Solanke. These 100%, are very average. The point, these are really average footballers.
True, 100%. But going back to the actual point I want to make, right, is something that I've said literally from the start of the season. And obviously, at the start of the season, we had about 5 games, whatever it is in August. So it was fine. I've always said we have an issue with our pattern of play. Us pressing out from the back, passing out of pressure is an issue. And this is not an attacking issue. This is patterns of play to be able to get out from a press. We can't do it. I don't know whether anyone has noticed it. We pass back 1-2 to Romero, back to Van de Ven to Udogie. Udogie looks up, he doesn't see anybody, lumps it up. We pass again to Romero to Van de Ven to Romero to Porro looks up, lumps it up. The fact that we haven't got anyone that can actually trap the ball, I find it concerning that we are not literally working.
Yeah, I disagree, Manny.
Manny.
Like, what did you say? Sorry? I didn't hear you.
If we're not allocating any assumption that they've spent however long, right? We've gone to a back three tonight. We've gone to a back three. First time we've done it since PSG, right? There was some suggestion that we did it against mid-game against City, right? Mid-game. We didn't start that way against City. But the first time that we have gone back three this season in the Premier League. Why? Well, we've got PSG on Wednesday. We've got Arsenal today. So it seems like a good time to try it. We've also had 2 weeks on the away from the Premier League because of the international break. So varying times, there will have been varying degrees of our first team squad back at the hot spell, right? So we've had more minutes on the training ground in the last 2 weeks with varying degrees of a full strength team. We've also got most of our players back, or some of them, or most of them. We're still lumping up towards Richarlison. Okay, to me, I'm sorry, I've got to call bullshit. I agree with everything you said, Manny. Okay, and all of us, I think we all agree. We might disagree on the semantics, but we all agree that Richarlison is not good enough. And yet the team are lumping up the ball to him.
But that's my point.
Lumping it up to him.
That's exactly my point.
So we all agree that there's a problem with that strategy, right? Where does that strategy start from? And more importantly than that, I believe that we spend all our time leading into Arsenal and PSG assuming that we're going to be on the receiving end of 70% possession against, which is fine. It's a reasonable assumption because we are where we are in our squad and all that stuff, right? So we're practicing like 80% of our minutes on the training ground. Whenever we get a chance to do it, we are practicing. What do you do if Saka gets the ball here? What do you do if Eze gets the ball there? What do you do? Blah, 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 blah. And they're practicing defensive setups. Like Danso today, fantastic in the air. Phenomenal in the air, as always. But then when he gets the ball, what does he do?
Yeah, but that's exactly. But that's my point. I don't think.
It seems to me, just last thing. It seems to me like it's entirely evident, and if you can't see it, I can't understand why not you personally, why people can't see it.
Yeah.
We are spending every second on the training ground practicing the art of not losing, of not conceding, and then where we're losing the grip on reality is what do you do when you win the ball back?
So let me ask you then. So let me ask you, because I keep hearing this from people. How would you play when you win the ball back with the players we've got? Because somebody came into my show earlier, made a really good point and said, I don't think this working the ball into Richie works. But they said, I also don't think we've got the players to play keep ball and pass it through midfield. So
Savva, we do when we're winning. When we're losing.
Hang on. Can I finish the sentence? Hang on. Sure.
Sorry. I'm angry tonight. Sorry.
No, I get people are angry, but this is the problem. Like, if we take a step back, when I'm asking people for solutions, I don't really see any, because the solution was we want to go to 3 or 5 at the back. My worry was very much about doing it for this game against people like Timber and Calafiori, who push so high up, but naturally we would end up being a 5. If anyone watches Arsenal this year, Timber and Calafiori push very, very high up. We were always going to be pushed back into that 5, in my opinion, which is why I didn't want to play it today. However, my worry is this is where we might disagree. I don't think, and I've said this all summer, all season, last year, I don't think we've got ball-playing, controlling footballers that you can play through midfield and that are comfortable doing so. We don't.
So why is it we can do it when we're down?
But I don't think we did do it when we're down. If you actually look,
we did it tonight. We did it against Brighton. Well, we did it against Wolves.
Look,
we're a better team when we're conceding. When we've conceded,
there's a difference. When you're 3-0 down and the other team aren't swarming over you because they're comfortable now and containing a game, you can have the football, right? But what you actually saw in the second half tonight, and I don't know, people might disagree with me, is we had more of the ball in the second half because Arsenal are sitting comfortable and don't need to do a lot. But when we actually start trying to build up play, it just breaks down on everything. It breaks down. The midfield two aren't technically good enough. Like, Paulinho is absolutely brilliant at what he does. Savva,
explain to me why it was that when we were 3-0 down. Explain to me why it was that Paulinho was 30 yards further forward than Bentancur was.
Yeah, hang on, Sean. That's not what we're talking about at this moment in time.
It is. It's an extension of what you're talking about.
That's not what we're talking. We're talking about how do we play through building up. Because I've heard all season that this player is capable of doing it and that player. I'm not saying what we're seeing is good. I've not said that at all. And I think this is the problem. Whenever I put this out there, people just go, you're just defending Frank. I'm not. What we're seeing isn't good. But my worry is I don't think we've got players for any style of play. I think we've got a mishmash of players that don't actually fall into any category. So we've not bought the players that are good for a direct game where someone can hold it up and everyone goes in and helps him out. We've not bought the players for a short passing game. We've not bought the players for wide men that get the ball, beat a man and whip crosses it. I don't know what we've bought for, which is what I've said. You know, I've said this the whole time. I don't know what these players, what will suit them. I think that's why he's trying a mixture of all these different things, because I don't think he knows at the moment. And I don't know.
Okay, so you're saying we haven't got the midfield to be able to play.
I don't
Okay, fine. Let me ask you a series of questions. Is Polina a 6 or an 8?
Well, Paulina's a 6.
Okay. Is Bentancur a 6 or an 8?
Like a kind of weird hybrid.
Okay. Did Tottenham play better against Arsenal when we were losing 3-0 with the ball?
Of course.
Okay. Did Tottenham play better against Wolves when we went 1-0 down?
Of course, because the other team changed. But this is not. But
I'm just asking some questions. I haven't given you a scenario. I'm just asking you a question. Are Wolves a better team, man for man? The team that sits with 2 points out of a possible 39. Are Wolverhampton Wanderers a better team than Tottenham, man for man?
No, they've got a better midfield, but not a better team.
Right. So, Aston Villa, did we play better before we were losing or after we were losing?
I thought we played better before we were losing. I thought we had loads of chances.
Okay. Manchester United. Did Manchester United press us like Chelsea did and like Arsenal did?
No, you know the answer to all these questions.
Right. So there's no consistency to the logic that we haven't got the team, and there's no consistency to the logic that we are incapable of playing against a certain style. Because in all of the examples where we've let ourselves down, we've either come. Hang on, let me finish my point. After all of those, let me please land the sentence. Okay. In all of those scenarios, right? In all of those scenarios, we are either playing against a worse team, a different scenario, or we are better man for man, and yet the same scenarios play itself out.
But in all three of the scenarios you've given me, we've been behind. When you are losing a game and the other team sit in, or not sit in, but the other team don't have the emphasis. At 3-0 today, Arsenal didn't need to just keep coming forward and attacking us. You could see it visibly. First half, if you actually watch that game, the first half, Rice and Zubimendi were on top of it. They camped on top of us. We couldn't get out of our 30, 40-yard box, if you will. Like, they were camped. Every time they won the ball back, they swarmed. When they got the third goal just after half time, you could visibly see Rice and Zubimendi drop back to the halfway line. You could visibly see Timber and Calafiori drop back a little bit. And it was like, go on, have more of the ball. Now, when you are playing and you're losing and you have a little bit of the ball, that's fine. But there's a big difference between doing that and being a passing football team that can play effectively. So, for example, you're saying today we played better when we were losing in the second half
for 10 minutes.
Right? No, I'm giving you one scenario, one example.
Yeah, but the problem is, even when you watch that, when we try and build up and play, our players aren't capable of it at all. They are not capable of it sustained. We are not capable of it.
They have been capable at it. Just quickly, sorry, Manny. They have been capable at it in different scenarios against just as good teams and just as bad teams in different scenarios all season. So this Manchester City away.
But Everton.
Hang on, no. Sean,
Everton away.
I think you're confusing. No, I think you're confusing.
Burnley at home. There's plenty of examples of where the team that we're playing with the same squad is capable of playing attractive football, and it doesn't require that you are 1-0 down or 1-0 up to be able to invoke it. It doesn't require that you are in a back three or a back four to be able to invoke it. It doesn't require that you're home or away to be able to invoke it. It requires that you are set up with a certain intention, of which your analysis, Savva, it completely abdicates the responsibility of all of those things. You're saying, Savva, your analysis is we don't have the squad, we don't have the players to do anything more than what we're doing, and yet we've seen
now I know that you're not listening, because that's exactly what I started off. Everyone will tell you I started off by saying that's not what I'm saying. That's not what I'm saying. So
you might start, Savva, you might start a sentence by saying, I'm not saying this, but then the next 60 seconds are exactly that.
I haven't had 60 seconds, Sean, with you on the show. I haven't had 60 seconds.
Do you want me to go? I can go if you want. I'm just challenging you on your narrative, mate. That's all I'm doing.
But no, what you're doing is talking and not letting anybody else interject. I clearly said we need to do something different. We need to find something that works. But this whole narrative that we're going to be a team the Tottenham way, that play through midfield and ball play, we do not have the players for that. We've not set up in any of our games to play like that, because we don't have the players to do that. Our best performances have not been doing that. Our best performances, Man City was not a game where we dominated the football. The possession is ours. We're playing through midfield. Man City we pressed, which that baffles me why we're not pressing. Man City was excellent because we pressed. We didn't let.
So we had the players. We had the players for that game.
No, but it's a different. It's different though. He's not talking about. You said about passing football.
Yeah, it's. Sorry, can I say it's Sean? That is definitely different. With that, I do agree with Savva, right? So at the point where we actually started playing out from the back, right? Arsenal did take a few steps back. I fully agree with you, Savva, on that part. Same with Wolves, where they changed to the 5 at the back and decided, right, we're gonna sit in, right? I agree with that.
Okay, but
I agree with. Let me just land, Sean. Let me just land.
Hang on,
I do agree with the fact that we haven't got the players to lump the ball up, right? I do agree with all of that, and I do agree that we haven't got an all-playing marauder number 8. I agree with those points. My issue comes in about the passing out of the press, Savva, is the fact that passing out of a press is not necessarily just having the players. It's also about movement that has been ingrained in the players. Now, let me give you an example. Burnley under what's his name? The gaffer that's at Bayern right now. What's his name?
Company,
right? Came up from the Championship and decided to play like that every single game, and they went down. However, what you couldn't take away from them is the fact that when they were passing away out from the back, they could do that effectively because it had been drilled into them. Now, we have better players than at the back, at the very least, and in midfield, than that Burnley side had. So when I'm saying, passing out of a press, it's not necessarily about the players. It's about something being instilled in them. And I feel like at the moment, we haven't got the identity we need, or the players have not been drilled, the positioning, the movement to get ourselves out of a press.
But man, this is my point. This is what I was trying to get at. Before I'm being told I'm not saying this, I am. For me, I'm frustrated that we're not doing things that we're capable of. I.e., the Man City game, we didn't play this lovely brand of football. We didn't get the ball down and play. We pressed. We pressed Man City. We pressed them into mistakes. We pressed them high. We transitioned quickly. That is what I want to see more of, and I don't understand why we're not doing that. But in none of these games have I ever watched Spurs this season, or last season, if we're honest, because all the season before, right? There's a difference between being gung-ho and actually controlling games of football. At no point this season have I watched Spurs and gone, God, look how good we are at playing through the midfield. Because I've said that, Manny, James, Lou, Sean, all of you, nothing's changed my opinion this season or last that any of these midfielders are actually any good at that. None of them are playing midfielders. I want to see if we can't do that, which I don't think we can, and I think it's proven time and time again, none of these midfielders can. What are we doing then? Why have we stopped the press? Why have we stopped doing this thing where don't let the team play out? Instead, what I'm frustrated about with Thomas Frank is now we seem to have dropped back. Yes. So when the other team get the ball, before, when we were pushing on them immediately and making them make mistakes, making them pass the ball, we're now saying, come on, come out.
You have the ball,
out,
yeah, 100%.
Come out and play. And you've got Richie
100%.
just running around up there. He's got the wingers of, depending on the formation, the wingers have dropped in. And I'm like, that's my issue with Frank. Doesn't mean I'm Frank out. Doesn't mean it's the end of the world. That's my issue. But no one's going to tell me this team is not capable of this Tottenham way of playing. This set of midfielders aren't. And we don't have a forward that can link up with the midfielders that will allow that to be facilitated. That's my frustration.
I'll just say, Les Ferdinand summed it up very well on Sky Sports. I came in before and I watched it up. He said, you've got to remember this squad last season was 17th. They were 17th for a reason.
Position,
Lubo. Let me just add to this.
Let Lubo finish. Let Lubo finish.
Hang on. Whether it's false or not, we finished 17th. We did. Those are the facts. You can't argue. If you finish 18th, Sean, you can't say it's a false position.
No, but if we won the Champions League, it doesn't mean we're suddenly the best team in Europe when we were in 2019. Right? Come on. We weren't the 17th best team in the Premier League last year, other than on a statistical paper because of the way we were set up. Our squad is not 17th. It's a nonsense argument to defend.
I have said all along, it's all about players. It's all about.
It's not though. Can I answer that though? It's not.
James, hang on one second. Managers put coaching into work. They put tactics into work. They put systems into work. They ask players to take them on and carry them out for them. It's down to the players. Once they cross that white line before the first kickoff, it's then down to the players. Now, our players are not good enough. You will get players. Hang on one second. The squad is not good enough. You will have players who will have good games, and the team will have good games. But the better players and the better teams are more consistent, and you'll get 7, 8s and 9s out of them every week, not a 9 one week, a 5 next week, a 3 next week. Our players would play well against Burnley, would play well against City. With most of the good performances were at the beginning of this first half of where we're up to of this season. Unfortunately, the wheels have come off.
Explain that.
A few weeks. Explain that, Sean. The players aren't good enough. We used to see.
But they were good enough at the start.
But you didn't say that when we had Fraser Foster in goal last season.
Hang on one second. The better players play well week after week after week after week. Some players, we used to have Dyer coming through injury, Davis coming through injury. They play a few games and then bang, they go off the ball again because they're not top level. They're okay, but they're inconsistent. And we are.
So you're giving no accountability to the manager.
No, of course there's accountability for Frank.
No one said that. No one said that.
Lubo literally just said the inverse. He said, when you walk over the line, it's on the players. I'm saying when you walk over the line.
True. So he's blaming the manager. Two things.
At what point do you understand?
I have said all along,
responsible?
Sean, I've said all along, I'd never play Bentancur at home with Palhinha because it's too defensive. You don't need 2 CDMs at home.
Right.
Personally, I'd have Gray in there with Palhinha. That's what I'd like to see now.
I want Gray. Thomas Frank is responsible for putting those players on the pitch, right?
Sorry, Thomas Frank.
I don't think anyone said Thomas Frank is blameless, though. Like
Lubo said that once the players go over the line, it's over to them.
Of course it is.
Match performances
doesn't mean the manager might not have got something wrong in the setup, but
his whole point, it was building up to the point that Thomas Frank isn't responsible because it's the players on the pitch that aren't performing. That's the point that Lubo was making. That is the point that Lubo was making, Savva.
I didn't hear him make that point. I hear it for what he's trying to say.
What is he trying to say then, Savva?
Lubo, tell me if I'm wrong. Lubo, tell me if I'm wrong. You are trying to say this, right? Tell me if I'm wrong. Lubo is trying to say, right, that yes, the manager can get things wrong, right? Yes, the manager can set things up tactically wrong. However, there are certain things that when the players cross the white line, they have to take responsibility for.
But that's not what Lubo said, Savva. Lubo said when the players go over the line, it's on the players. You're inferring what Lubo said. I'm taking him literally. So don't like you can't just sit there and say that's not what Lubo said, and then you
I feel
pretend like you're
most
involved
people,
in
most
his
people
mindset.
don't understand what
Can I
that
say,
means.
Mark? Can I say
What are we
something?
doing here?
Can I, like for what I would say is the reason I'd half back up Sean in a little bit is in Lubo also said it's the same players that finished 17th last season, so he is actually kind of indicating that it is the players because he went it's the same players that finished 17th last year, same players today. So he was kind of indicating that it was on the players. That's how I read that.
He was quoting.
Yeah.
He was quoting Ferdinand, by the way.
Yeah. But then he did say these players were the same players that finished 17th last season. So that's why I took it as in that you was kind of aiming at the players. The one thing I would say is last season when we played Arsenal away, we had Dragashin and Archie Gray at the back and we played 10 times better than what we did today. So we can't kind of put everything down to the players, in my opinion. And also, look, I can't stand Richarlison. And I told Sean, I think Odegaard's just as bad as Richarlison, to be honest. I really do. But I can't blame them.
Today he was awful.
But I can't blame them when they are getting no chances whatsoever. Whether they're part of the build-up themselves, I would agree with. But Xavi, Kudos, Polinia, Bentancur, Porro, that's enough to be creating some chances. And for Richarlison to have no chances other than a halfway line strike, it's not good enough from the team. So as much as I want to
name the players you just said. Name the players you just said.
Xavi, Bentancur, Polinia, Porro. And I would put
two of those, the two creative ones you mentioned, they didn't start the game.
No, but they were towards the end of the game. We still created nothing. So I was just saying, and I'm talking sort of general, not all in one game. I'm talking for the whole season. So for me, there should be chances being created, and there has been where Richarlison has scuffed the ball and missed the header. There has been those moments, but for me, we are good enough to be playing better football. I'm not asking us to turn out and to be prime Barcelona under Pep. I'm not asking for that. But to have 0 shots going into half time, that is not acceptable. And that is on the manager because he does set us up in a way of we either keep ball. I thought there was a pattern today. It was pass it out to a doggy would go diagonal. Or Romero would get the ball and he'd take 4 touches looking for a long ball and then lose it or pass it sideways. So I did see sort of elements of where is the coaching? Where is the right? This is where we should be. I mean, if I bring Brennan Johnson into the picture, again, useless footballer, but you know what he's going to do. It's almost like he's drilled, right? Last man running the pipe behind back post. I saw nothing. And I saw nothing against Chelsea. I've seen nothing against games like Wolves. I said the same thing against Bodo. I thought it was awful. I said the same thing in the other Champions League game. We did play in the other Champions League game we drew. Again, there's been too many times. I think we've played 18 games this season and only won 8. That's not good enough. That's really not good enough. And that is where, for me, the manager does need to. I'm not Frank out. He needs to be given time. He needs to be given a window. But there are moments for me where I kind of sit on the fence of everyone's argument and say, this ain't good enough. It needs to change. We need to get better.
James,
100%.
I think I've been pushing for a back 3 because the way I looked at it was you had 3 at the back. I was pushing particularly for Danso to play today because I thought there'd be a bit of an aerial bombardment and Danso would be a good addition.
But I said the same thing, but that wasn't a back 3. That was a back 5.
It was. But if you're playing a back 5 and you've got 2 central defensive midfield players in front, it's really not going to work because you're leaving your 2 behind your centre forwards. And personally, he may not be the worst player, and there are worse players around, but this is not working with Bentancur. Super player when Conte brought in. I keep
asking though for a solution to this, and no one can give me one that's proven.
The solution you've got at the moment, and
here we go.
No, the solution, unfortunately, we're not going to get until we bring in better players.
I know what's coming.
That's the point,
Lupo. If you say to me between now and the transfer window, what would you do? I stick Moani up front.
You're going to play
Simmons in the 10. I play Gray in the 8 with Paulinho.
Gray would have been eaten alive
isn't
in
about
this game.
personnel.
I'm sorry
Is
to
it a
say.
solution?
I'm sorry, guys.
Who knows
The
if it's a solution, but we limited. We've got limited players.
The solution isn't about personnel. It's about intent. It's about
Agreed.
strategy. It's
Yes.
about giving people the license to try things.
Yeah,
definitely
both.
both. Definitely both.
both.
Definitely both. Like
both.
Archie Gray would have been eaten alive.
Of course, you need to go and get people in the January window.
Yeah.
But until then, and during that process, you have to also give the license to play football, of which Thomas Frank doesn't. The idea, I'm sorry, I've on my channel, people may or not have watched it, but I've shown about 100 different examples, no, maybe not that, maybe 20 different examples of screenshots of the obvious tactics whereby players are held back in opportunistic scenarios when they have the ball. It's by design. In my opinion, the argument that it's not by design is a failed concept. It is by design. It's almost settled science at this point in my mind from the shit that I see. Okay, so it's not about whether you put Bentancur in or Bergvall in. It doesn't matter if you hold them all back. It doesn't matter if you tell Jed Spence on the right or the left to sit in and never move forward. It doesn't matter who you have in the situations. If you tell Van der Ven and Danso and Romero today, every time you win the ball, just bang it long to Richarlison. It doesn't matter who the people are if the tactic is designed to just do what you can to keep the ball out of the back of the net and then bang it forward to get us out of trouble, which was the absolute obvious tactic today and has been for a long time.
That it's got to be both. This is the problem. It's got to be both. Because if you're asking players to do things that they can't do or not done in their career,
well, they have done it and they could do it. They've done it in a Tottenham shirt this season, Savva.
But we're watching different things then. We're watching different things. I'm talking about players that do it naturally, that it's their natural game. Like when you watch Adam Walton play for Palace, you see his natural game. It's not that he does it every now and then. That's his game. He's a ball playing midfielder. He wants the ball. He drops into space.
Okay, so Romero can't. So Romero's not the best passing centre back in the Premier League, or one of them.
I don't know what that's got to do with what I'm talking about.
Because you're saying that he can't do anything more. Because tonight he was told to smash the ball long every time he got the ball.
I feel like when I'm making a point, you're pretending I'm saying something else. It's not what I said.
You're saying that our players can't do anything other than what they currently are doing. And I'm giving you an example. Romero today, every time he got the ball, Romero smashed the ball long. He's the best passing centre back in the Premier League.
Can I finish? Right. I was talking about in midfield. The midfield is the engine room of any football team. Any manager in the world will tell you that, right? You look at Arsenal's midfield today, right? Zubimendi and Rice are just superior at everything. Like, not even close. Paulinho and Bentancur to those two is like, it's ridiculous how better they are. But they've always got time on the ball. They always drop into space. They're both very good with their passing. They keep the game ticking over. We don't have footballers like that in our squad. So my point is that every now and then, will they have a passing move that works? Sure. But somebody whose game it is to naturally control a midfield that allows you to play through a midfield, to build up, to bring your forwards and your wide men into the game. We simply don't have that and haven't since Dembele.
Okay, let me ask this then. Okay, so let me ask this.
That's why since that team, since the Poch team where we had Dembele, who was superb at it, right? The Redknapp team had Modric, who was one of the best in the world at it. Since that, if you look, all of the teams we've had have been very, very one-dimensional, direct playing football teams. You look at the last 6 years of Tottenham, it's basically been not very good football. Get the ball to Kane and Son, they will score goals, right? There's been no pretty passing, no, oh my God, look at that build-up play, it's great. That's not how we've played. This year, we've gone even worse because we don't have Kane or Son, and we've not brought in a forward who can control the ball.
Would you agree with me that Romero is one of the best passing centre-backs in the Premier League, Savva?
On his day,
would you agree with me that he's one of the best centre backs?
On his
would you
day.
agree with me? Okay, what's that based on? Is it his passing, or is it the fact that the passes are completed?
His ability to pass the football. He's got a great eye for it, great vision, great pass.
And that data is supplemented by the fact that it's received, right?
Correct.
I mean, I don't even care about that.
That's fair, right? That's fair.
I'm with you. Go on, Sean.
Okay. So why today would you set up the guy who's one of the best passing centre backs in the Premier League to smash the ball long every chance he got?
Sean, have you noticed? Hang on,
I'm on a tangent here. I wanted to see. You agree with me, Lubo, right?
Romero's
one of the best passing centre backs in the Premier League.
I agree, but the problem today, Sean, was that neither Bentancur or Polina was showing for him.
Why was that, mate?
I don't know. You've got to ask them.
You don't have to go and ask them. You just have to go and look at the fucking. Go and look at the heat maps. Go and look at the heat maps, Lubo. It wasn't a back three. It was a back eight. It was a back eight today.
Well,
and yet every time
everyone stop shouting. First of all, please. When you shout, it comes through muffled. I can't hear.
Okay. Sean, let me just say to you, the goals that we conceded, all of them, I think pretty much, they all came through the middle, didn't they?
Yeah, they did, yeah. Explain that to me.
By the way, Romero.
Riddle me that, Lubo. Riddle me that, right? We're playing with a back three. We're playing with the back three. Everybody that I know that's been talking in the Tottenham community about playing with the back three all for the last month or 2 months have been talking about the idea of having Romero the ability to move into the centre if he can, or if you're going to play him on the right-hand side and play Danzo like we did today in the centre, then Romero can drift the ball out from the right-hand side and use his passing acumen. On the left-hand side, one of the benefits is that you have Mickey van der Ven, who can draw the ball out with his feet, who can break the pass, break the line, and if it doesn't work out, if he gets picked off, like he did against Manchester United, like he did against Chelsea, or like he didn't do against Copenhagen, but in the world where you do, then you have Danzo and Romero to cover. And you also potentially have the two fullbacks. You also have wing backs in a back three system that can do what wing backs are supposed to do, right? That's the model that everyone's been asking to do.
But that's why...
Hang on, Sav. Let me finish my point, mate. Like you always ask me to let you finish. Let me finish.
I know.
Today, right? You've got in front of the back three model that's supposed to allow Romero to do what Romero does. It's supposed to allow Mickey van der Ven to do what Mickey van der Ven does. You also have Polina and Bentancur doing what they're supposed to do, and yet they're sat right in front. And every time we got the ball, it was Polina that was on the halfway line, and it was Bentancur that was on the centre, or that was on the D of our box. When we won the ball back, when we scored that goal, it was Polina that made the challenge. He passed it to Richie, and Richie put it top ins from 45 yards. Look where Bentancur was in that break of play. He was 20 yards behind, as he was the entire day. I'm sorry, but this notion that none of that is down to like the design of Thomas Frank's system is like foolhardy. If you just go and look at the heat maps, you don't have to ask the players why it was that certain things happened.
You keep bringing up we're not actually talking about. No one said that. My point was about.
Lubo said it.
No, he set up, Sam. He set up not to lose today. Let me answer, Sean. He set up not to lose.
Wasn't everyone at the Emirates? What are you talking about? This is the best team.
But the problem you've got, Sean, if you've got Rice and Zubamendi, remember you've got the back four that are on the halfway line. You've got two fullbacks that are pushing up, making wider midfield type players. You've got Rice and Zubamendi who are all over our midfield. So that if Romero's seeing the ball go into midfield and Bentancur's got Rice all over him, then what do you do to try and beat that press? You try and take it long, and hopefully your centre forward will hold the ball up. That's how you can beat it. You can't beat the press.
There's more than one way to beat the press.
Really on that one.
There's more than
one. Players, Sean.
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Otherwise, we would never have beaten Man City. Man City didn't sit off. Man City pressed us. What are we talking about here? Burnley pressed us. Every team in the Premier League this year, 16 of the. I last week I thought it was 15. I've looked into it. 16 of the 20 teams in the Premier League engage in a man-to-man press. Okay, I understand that Arsenal are a different level. I'm not arguing that Arsenal aren't a different level. Okay, I'm not. I completely understand the rationale for a back three. I was calling for it. I'm just saying that this notion that once the players cross the line and there's a back three, that's the system, then everything else is down to the players. No, there's clearly things that you can see that are directives, and to dismiss them as like that's the players not doing their job is wildly wrong. You can just get up SofaScore right now, Savva. Bring it up, and I'll walk you through it if you haven't seen it. Look at the heat maps.
I'm sure I'll be able to read SofaScore on my own. Thank you.
I'm just saying it makes the point I'm making. You haven't got to get into the minds of the players. You can see by the heat maps that it's by design.
I feel like we're floating from conversation to conversation.
Right,
These are things.
How do you play against Arsenal?
Oh my
at the
goodness.
I'll get a sentence out, Manny. I'm trying, mate. I'm trying to get you in. And...
Go on.
Listen, Manny, let me bring you in here. Look, for me, as I said yesterday when I did a show last night, said I would not go to three at the back in this game, right? I would not. I would not, for a team that doesn't play three at the back, to rock up to the best team in the country, if not the best team in Europe right now, one of, right? They are right up there, aren't they? With the PSGs and Bayern Munichs, to rock up to Arsenal's ground with a brand new formation that we've played once versus PSG, right? 4 months ago, to play that against this inform Arsenal team, I just thought was the wrong time to try it, Manny. For me, you've got Calafiori and Timber who are going to naturally push you back into being a five. Whether people want it to be wing backs going forward from us, not going to happen. They're going to sustain. You've also got Rice and Zubamendi in the midfield with Eze, which means you've got to play the two DMs because Arsenal have 3 bodies there as well. And then you've got Trossard, Saka, and Mikel Merino to worry about as well. I thought this was the wrong game to do it. I thought it was the wrong setup. That's why I will judge Frank on that today. And from my point of view, I feel like whatever team he's picking at the moment, Manny, everyone's got a problem with it. They wanted the back three. That's not right. They didn't want Paulinho and Bentancur. He plays Paulinho and Sarr. That's not right. He plays Odegaard. That's not right. He doesn't play Odegaard. That's not right. He wants Johnson. Doesn't want Johnson. Mawani, Rich, Simmons. I was told by everyone, Simmons shouldn't play today. Simmons shouldn't play today. He's not physical enough. Everyone was saying that. Then before the game, oh my God, he's dropped our best, most creative player. I feel like we're at a real loss as to who we are, what we want. Not
exactly.
I think that's from the owners, right, to the directors of football, to Thomas Frank, right, to the players, to the fans. I think there's blame pie everywhere. I don't think any of us know what we want. I don't think any of us know what the best 11 is, Manny. I don't think any of us know what the right formation or tactics are for the squad that we've got. Doesn't excuse that Frank needs to be getting more out of these players, and that doesn't excuse the lack of effort. Let me caveat that before people say,
yeah, 100%. Like we had it. When was it that we had that show? Was it Thursday or Wednesday morning that I got on with yourself and Lubo? Yeah. It's exactly what I said when I said my concern with the 3 at the back was the fact that you've got Arsenal being one of the most technical teams in the league, right? Who have Timber inverting, Calafiori inverting. They've got Rice in the middle. They've got Zubamendi in the middle. You've got Eze floating. And then to add to that, they didn't have Gyökeres up front, who's somewhat of a lump in terms of that kind of game. They had Merino, who's a midfielder and kept dropping into the pocket as well. So we were massively overloaded, right, in midfield. It definitely wasn't the right way of setting us up. As I said, when I say the right way of setting us up, I don't mean the 5 at the back per se. It's the interpretation of the 5 at the back. Because as you said, right, against City, we didn't win the City game by playing tiki-taka football. That's not how we won that game. We won that game by absolutely pressing the hell out of them, making them make mistakes, getting the ball in their final third, right? Instead of getting the ball in our final third and having to go 60, 70 yards up to try and create something. And that's how we won. But it seems like, and where I would put the blame on Frank is, it seems like ever since we played that PSG game and that City game, he's stopped this whole pressing thing. It's like we allow the opposition team to have the ball, have a cuppa, think about what they want to do with us, and then do it. Right. Okay. And I think that's where our issue is. That does not discount. And again, let me just say it clear, because I've been having massive arguments, and Luke, we've seen it in the group chat with this guy called Scott M. Right. That's not to say that our players are good, because I agree with you. Like I like Bentancur, but I can also understand that Bentancur. Like I was watching the Newcastle City game, and Bruno G for Newcastle was absolutely dominating that midfield. Tonali was absolutely dominating that midfield, and it wasn't by just passing. They were carriers. They will get the ball and carry it past 2-3 people, Joel Linton. So I get that, and I fully agree with everyone that says our players are not good enough, which is why I don't want Frank out, because I literally think Frank would need 2, 3, 4 windows to bring in the same level of quality, if not more, as what we did in this transfer window. My only scare or issue, right? And Savva, you can tell me what you think about this, is I don't know whether where I do agree with Sean is that it is the players have been told to play in a certain way, right? But I don't know whether it's because my guess would be is because Frank is concerned by our lack of quality or scared or whichever way, right? My only concern is if Frank does not implement the way he fully wants us to play and give us that identity, what is to say that when the players do come in later down the line, he's then now going to be able to implement his identity? You'd want them to come in and slot into an identity, and I think that's the bit that I struggle to see, because as I said, go on.
I agree with everything you've just said, and that's my point. They're the frustrations I have with Thomas Frank. That's my frustration. I don't expect, ask anyone. You've worked with me enough to know I don't expect Spurs to play good football with these players. I genuinely don't. What I do expect is get the pressing sorted out. And I don't know whether that started dropping off when we went to 2 games a week. I don't know. I don't know what happened, because we started doing it. Now we're not. But I just want to say, there's a lot of people in the chat that are saying, like, it's not the players. It's not the players. It's tactics. It's not the players. It's not the players. It's not a player ability thing. Manny, if that was the case, then why do the teams that get relegated are normally the teams with the worst footballers, right? If it was as simple as everyone is saying, then it wouldn't matter which club buy which footballers each year. So there has to be both that go with it. Thomas Frank needs to find a way to make this work. But do I think it's going to be playing football, nice football through the middle of the park and us being a possession-based team? I absolutely don't, with these midfielders and these wingers. Other than Kudus, and by the way, Kudus I didn't think he looked fit. By the way, I got a feeling he was rushed back to play today. I don't think he looked fit. Other than Kudus, I don't look at any of those people, the final third in the midfield or the forward line, and go, yeah, you've got really good technical ability. You've got that. You know, those players that give me the ball, even if people are around me, I'm comfortable, I'll be all right with it. I don't look at any of our players that do that. It's like a hot potato to them.
But do you think that?
Gray,
do you think so,
this is what we've built over the last 3-4 years. Yeah. And if we want to go to a more possession-based football team, go and buy midfielders that control games of football.
But do you think that he could release the handbrake a little bit? Do you think he could release the handbrake a little bit? Make us step. I know you said about the pressure. I know you said about the pressing. But if we start 10, 15 yards higher up the pitch, I think we'll become harder to break down, and B, we'll probably create more chances because there's less to do. I'm not Frank out. I'm not Frank out, but I do think that he needs to release this handbrake just a little bit, because
I agree.
I feel like every game we're going in not to lose. And look, I'm not saying that if we played another way we wouldn't have lost today. Like I said to you off air, I just wanted to see a bit of fight. And if we started 10, 15 yards up further and had a little bit more of a go, whether we win or not, I would have been happy with we gave it a go rather than sit there like ducks. Within 5-10 minutes, I said, we've lost it. We've lost this game because everybody says how good Arsenal is, and yet we've gone, what we're going to do is we're going to sit here for 90 minutes and try to keep the best team in the world out, or one of the best teams in the world.
James, I agree with you. I do think there's a huge difference between letting the handbrake off, though, and thinking that you're going to see good football. I feel like what I'm talking about compared to what most are talking about are two very different things. Yeah,
couldn't one lead to another? Couldn't one not lead to another?
I don't think it could, because
maybe not lead to another, but it could at least. You take the handbrake off, people start to get a bit more confident. They start playing a bit free. They start taking a bit. I think probably the best word is
I'd like my players, at Arsenal, James.
The thing I would like is I'd like my players to take a bit more responsibility for themselves as well as Frank.
James, I agree. I think if you take the handbrake off a little bit, I agree. I do think that the flip side to that, what happens is if you take the handbrake off a little bit, I think you do become a bit more vulnerable, which I'm comfortable with.
Agreed.
But equally, if we do become more vulnerable and we do start to become more wide open and concede chances and shots and goals, are the fans then going to jump on his back and go, oh, but hang on, this is what he said he was going to fix? I think there's a real delicate balance, and he's not getting it right. He's not getting it right, James. This is the thing. Everyone's saying I'm just back. I'm not. He's got to find what works. He's got to find a balance.
Yeah, but do you think the fans will tolerate this for the rest of the year?
I don't think they will. But then what I think they'll see is you bring in another manager. I don't think results get much better. You might have a little bit prettier football.
I agree with
you on that. I agree with you on that. I hear you on that.
Let me answer then. Let me answer. Right. I think you will start to see a bit prettier football. But in the main, the results and the league position will stay the same. And we are actually no further forward, but it's just a little bit nicer to watch. That's fine.
Which is massively important to some a not insignificant section of the fan base.
Sure, that's fine. But what will happen is I can tell you what will happen. And you guys, I'll start this conversation off. You guys tell me if I'm wrong, right? As I've said before, I'm not married to a manager, i.e., managers come, managers go, right? Is that fair enough? Managers come and go, right? If I wake up tomorrow and Spurs have sacked Thomas Frank, I'll have a moan about it. This is ridiculous. He's only had 12 games, yada, 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 but he's gone. Right. Who's coming in? We're doing videos now, Sean, on who's coming in. Next manager.
I would disagree with you a little bit. I would challenge you on a little bit on the Thomas Frank thing. I'm not saying you're married to him, but I certainly think that your stance on Ange Postecoglou was so staunch that then when the option of of Thomas Frank came in, you did become a little bit embedded. Not saying you're totally embedded. I'd put you in the same bucket. Let me finish my point. I'd put you in the same bucket as like Johnny, my boy Johnny, who I stream with on Football Link, and I can't wait to speak to him tomorrow.
Sean, are you sure you're not talking about Luba instead of Savva here?
I would include Luba as well. Saying, if Thomas Frank, if I wake up tomorrow and Thomas Frank's gone, he's gone. Right.
No, but no. In the last, can I finish the point I was making? No, you're saying you haven't been interrupting me, but you've been interrupting me. Let me just finish my point.
I didn't finish. Go on.
Sorry. Okay, I think there's like multiple interruptions here. If you want to finish your point, then I'll come back. But you made the assertion that you are not married to a manager, and I was going to say that you are. I think you have been married to certain takes on certain managers. I think you were married to the take on Ange Postecoglou, and I remember that all the way forward, like you move forward to like season 2 on Ange, when he would like lose a game and people would be like, you're flip-flopping. I remember you pulling up the screenshot, Savva, of Ange Postecoglou losing the 11th game, and you were pointing to that high line with the Chelsea thing. I'm sure you've still got it in your overlays. Okay, maybe you removed it, right? But that particular thing, I remember you using that a year and a half later, saying, I'm not a newcomer to the Ange out thing. I've been Ange out ever since game week 11, right? So hold on.
What was actually the point I was trying to make? I might get there.
Good. Can I finish? You've just let me get through 30 seconds, and now you're telling me to stop. Let me get to my point. Can I get to my point or not? Do you want me to? Sorry, Sav. Like like
No,
you
but
said,
when I started by talking about being
you
married
said
to a
finish your
manager, I
point.
didn't
You
actually
said finish your
my-
point. I just started to try and finish my point, and then halfway through my finishing my point, you told me to stop. But like I was finishing my point. So you did marry yourself. You said I'm not married to any manager. You were
I'm
not
not.
married to Ange. You were married to the divorce of Ange because
Yes.
later on in the system, later on you were married to your divorce of Ange because later on in the system you turned around and said, I've been Ange out ever since game week 11 when he put up and you showed the Chelsea the Chelsea screenshot. Hang on a second. Hang on, mate. So like you put that thing up months and months and months on repeat saying I was Ange out from game week 11.
I wasn't.
Right? You
Ange
said that
out.
all. Yeah, you
before.
said that, dude. Huh, mate? You fucking did. Don't pretend you didn't. Don't pretend you didn't. You put that up.
I just wish I was allowed to finish my point. I tried to start. That's all
You
I
asked.
wanted to
You
do.
told me I could finish my point, and now you're going back to saying I can't finish my point. Can I finish my point or not? Oh fuck it, dude. You know what? Dude, finish your point.
But I never actually got to finish the point. You interrupted when I started talking about being married to a manager.
I blame Lubo.
Hi guys. Hi Danny. All right.
Brilliant.
You're right.
Brilliant. Go on, carry on.
Danny, you absolute fraud.
This is hard work. My point is, if a manager gets if a manager gets sacked, right? A manager gets sacked, right? If a player leaves, a player leaves, right? The point I was going to try and get to was what we will see. What we will see is when the next manager comes in with this group of players, you might see a bit more free-flowing football. I don't think it will be but you will see somebody tries a different style of football. There will be, like Lubo said, there'll be games where the first 3 or 4 games of that manager's reign, so-and-so has a really good couple of games and everyone starts raving about them again. And then 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 games into the manager's tenure, everyone's going, oh, why is it not working? Why are the results still the same? Because he will still have Tell, Odeberg, Bentancur, Gray, Bergval, Sarr, Johnson, right? Porro. He's still going to have all these same footballers. So sack a manager, that's fine. Sack Frank. I don't care. Sack him. I'm not saying anyone on this panel said it, but sack him. But then we're going to be 10 games down the line again talking about the exact same things. Why doesn't this style of play work that this manager wants to play? Oh, it's because we haven't got a striker who can hold the ball up. Cool. Why aren't we very good in possession? It's because the midfielders are the same. Why aren't we? We're going to be there, right? Now, just to caveat the point, yeah? Yes, I didn't like Ange. From that 11th game against Chelsea, my concern level went, what the fuck are you doing? Right? And then towards the end of the season, I was just like, no, man, no, I've seen enough. Right? Right now, after 12 games of Frank, I haven't because
am I okay in calling out the hypocrisy of you saying anyone that's calling time on Thomas Frank so quickly is outrageous, yet you were doing the same thing. And even in season 2, when you were reminding people, you were suggesting when season 2 when tits up, and you were saying, I'm not new on the fucking Ange out train. I've been Ange out since this moment, and you kept pulling up that screenshot.
Sure.
Am I wrong to pull up the hypocrisy despite half of your chat calling me out? Couldn't give a fuck, by the way.
You can call
you
it.
think?
You can.
Am I wrong to call out the hypocrisy there, Savva?
No, because after that game, I was really frustrated after that game, and then I said, "Right, let's see what he's got. Then let's see what he's got to rectify." Now that it's started to go wrong, but the first 10 games it was all going well, and everyone loved him, and people were streaming about winning.
So it's okay for you to have an opinion by game week 11, but anyone that's got an opinion by game week 12 or 13 or 15 or whatever else is too soon.
Can if you let me finish my
I
sentence,
don't think Savva said that you're wrong to have your opinion.
I
think he said he didn't care.
You sure about that, James? I can pull up.
No, that's what I said. I don't think he said that people can't have their opinions whether we should go or not.
That's exactly what I said. If people want to be Thomas Frank out, yeah, I said it all throughout my stream today. If you want to be Thomas Frank out, be Thomas Frank out, right?
I'm Danny K out, but
But we're just going to, if we're going to be Thomas Frank out now, we're just going to be doing the same cycle again, right? The squad is painfully average for me. For me, I think this is a very painfully average squad with 4 or 5 that I would keep. The rest I really don't care about. I'll be honest. Honest. Van der Ven, Romero, Kudus, Paulinho. I think Simmons will come good, but at the moment, that's more hope than what I've seen. And Maddison, depending on which Maddison comes back from injury. Other than that, if I wake up tomorrow and any of those players were gone, any of them, Adogi, Porro, right? Bentancur, Bergvall, Sarr, Gray, Ritchie, I don't care. Now, it's not that I think they're all terrible, but there's no one there that I'm going, you are exactly what this club needs to take you forward. So if we're going to do this, and if people want to be Thomas Frank out, fine. Go and be Thomas Frank out. But we're just going to do this again in 10, 11, 12 games with the next manager. We're just going to do this with people go, Iriola. Cool. Iriola, when he rocked up to Bournemouth, was dreadful. Bournemouth fans were going, what is this? Right? He took 4 months, started to turn it around slowly, playing once a week, by the way. At Spurs, he'd join us. We'd be playing twice a week. He'd have no time on the training ground. And we'd be right back at the same point where we are now. Right? We will be. We'll be back at the same point because Lubo, listen, there's so much I disagree with that man on, as Lubo knows, but he's spot on. These players aren't good enough to give you consistently good performances. We've seen it for years and years and years. Some of them are brilliant, right?
I agree.
Quite a lot of weeks. Van der Ven most weeks is brilliant. I thought he was crap today. Van der Ven most weeks is brilliant. Yeah? Paulinho, most weeks is going to be brilliant. Kudus, I think most weeks.
Is this squad better than the squad that that Ange Postecoglou had, Savva?
No.
Based on what?
Yeah. Yes.
Well, no, hold on. I got to say something about this, right? We took out Son, Maddison, and Kulu, and we lost 60 GA and we never replaced them.
We haven't taken them out. We lost Sonny, Danny.
Yeah, but we haven't replaced them. Like
Sonny was replaced by
lost Sonny, replaced him with Kudus, and Sonny was
okay.
doing this. Sonny was doing that in the Premier League, and Kudus has come in and done that. Madison and Madison
Sonny doing that is still outperforming all of our attackers combined right now.
Yeah, why though? Why was Sonny scoring
because
so
Sonny
many
was
goals?
A class player.
Hang on,
Sonny's class.
Why Sonny, Kulu, Madders got what you said, 65 GA, right?
Something like that, wasn't it? 65.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. In a system, that was like completely neglecting the defensive responsibilities and was throwing all caution to the wind, right? So, like, for attacking players, they were going to benefit from that model. And people say, "Oh, we've lost Kulu and Maddison." No, we didn't sell them and not replace them. They just got injured, right? Which is fair enough. It's part of the conversation. But Ange Postecoglou didn't have Romero, Van der Ven, and Porro and Udogi for the majority of last season either. So there's context to the GA discrepancy on the back end, right? Like you have to break that in. But I'm saying that if you're going to sit there and say the reason why Thomas Frank gets a reprieve, and everyone who seems to be Frank in says he gets a year, and I'm like, okay, fair enough. I agree. By the way, he should get a year. Just like I said that Ange should get a year, right? But like we're not like comparing apples to apples in any way, shape, or form without discourse here. There's no consistency. And I'm not trying to call you out, buddy, because I love you to pieces. You're my man.
I think there's massive consistency.
But you did in season 2, you did reference that screenshot that you took.
How many times are you going to bring this up? We've talked about this.
No, I'm saying you were referencing season 1, game week 11 as the point in which you gave up on Ange Postecoglou. And I'm just saying,
in season one, when I went back, right, in season 1, I turned around, I said, I was angry at the time, when he's got to go, this is terrible. And I turned around after that and said, okay, look.
No, you didn't. You used it all last season as well, Savva.
Oh, Sean, please let someone finish the sentence. This is really hard work. please.
Do you want me to jump off? I'll jump off, mate. I'm calling you out.
I just want to be
Is this
able
the
to-
equivalent of you blocking me like you block people in your comment section when they disagree with you? I can jump off if you want. It's no problem.
I'm just trying to finish. Why are you being like this? I'm trying to just finish.
Chill, boys.
I am chilled. I'm just trying to finish the sentence, and now Sean's getting personal. So is this like me blocking people in my chat?
I'm not being personal at all. What are you talking about? Oh, I was said about me personally.
James Flower's a fucking fraud.
I'll jump off. I'll jump off, man. I'm just asking for consistency in the narrative. That's all.
No, don't jump off. I want to debate what you were saying because it doesn't make sense. Because
but Danny, that was not even for you, by the way. That was definitely
I know.
It was directed at Lubo, who's sleeping there, because when we had what's his name? What's our our third goalkeeper for last season? Fraser Force scoring goal. Dragustin and Archie Gray at the back. And we were losing games. Lubo constantly said, Ange has to adapt with those players. It was never the players are rubbish. That's what it was. But
I tell you what, Manny, stop.
No, let him finish.
Hold on. I want to hear it. I want to hear what he's saying.
Let me just land. That's the reason why some people get that back up, right? But in the end, if you actually just drop everyone, whether you want Ange in, you want Ange out, I do agree that the players that we've brought in over a 10-year period have been absolutely horrendous. I do agree with that. If we look at even the players that we had in today, right? You look at it, it genuinely looks like men against boys. Like even physically, not even just from a playing, perspective of it. So I do agree with all of that. And I do agree, like Sean said it, Savva said it, James said it, Luba said it. Frank would need, for us to be able to, at the very least, objectively assess where we are as a team, Frank would need a year. Like whether it was Frank, whether it was Ange, whether it's Poch, they will need a year for us to be objective about how we assess it. However, where I do have an issue with certain people that I argue with, right? It seems like now, and I'm not saying anyone on this panel, but now if you call out constructively any of our setup, anything, they're like, oh, you want Frank out. No, you don't want Frank out. You know what I mean? It's you looking at a situation and trying to understand where has it gone wrong, where can we actually move forward, and what has been happening in order for you to be able to assess things. That's all it is that I'm saying.
Okay, Manny, first of all, I think, and I actually was Ange out from Brighton December 28th, when after seeing him with his team selection at Wolves after the Chelsea game, bringing Skip on instead of Donnelly when we're losing 2-1 to Villa and West Ham, the way that he set up with his inverted fullbacks and we were ripped apart. And I remember being behind the goal at Brighton. They had hit the post twice. Vicario had made 3 one-on-one saves, I think, from Mitoma and Welbeck, and we were 2-0 down. We could have been 7-0 down. And I remember thinking that this system of play is unsustainable. You're going to win a few games, but pretty much teams are going to pick you off. And we didn't have the players further up the pitch to hold the ball so that we would lose the ball on the edge of their box. We had players committed. They would break the goals we conceded when they flooded through us. So, that wasn't a situation where, like here, where we haven't got the players, in my opinion. We don't have the squad. We don't have the first 11 in place anywhere near at the moment. That for me, I was never, because Postecoglou was intransigent, that was never going to change, and more managers were going to see it and plan accordingly, and they did. And we had 34 defeats out the last 66 games, something ridiculous. So everybody cottoned on, and we were beaten virtually week in, week out. This is a different situation. This is a situation where we've got a manager who's come in. It's a bizarre situation because we've won a European trophy. But I've got to tell you something, if we'd have lost that final against United, every single Spurs fan would have said, would have said Angie's the worst manager we've ever had, and because he won 90 minutes, all of a sudden part of the fan base think he's like God because we've won a European trophy for the first time in 40 years. I've got to tell you something, most decent managers would have taken that team to have won the Europa League that year, last season. This is a different situation. We don't have the players.
But then you criticise we say you should have beaten, but then there's people like Frank that can't beat Bodo away this season, but last season we did.
It's a different teams, different situations, James. We went there 3-1 up. We had a better team last year than we did this year. For me, I disagree. Okay, and it was a different situation. You know, we're in a group stage situation. They're not chasing the game, leaving themselves open as well. It's completely different.
I think the games, even at home at 0-0 and away, at no point was we dominated. Whereas I think Bodo away this season, they dominated us.
Okay, yeah, that's right. And Vicario said.
But in any case, guys, we're not advocating for Ange to come back anyway. So that conversation is even moot regardless, right?
But if you let the handbrake off a bit, James, the ball's going to go up to Richie a bit quicker. Do you think he's going to hold the ball? Do you think anything seriously is going to change? Because the calibre of the players... Hang on a second. Wait a minute. Hang on, Danny, hang on. Let me just finish this. The calibre of the players, if you play a little bit further forward, is still the same.
I agree, Lubo. I agree with that.
Better because you're playing further forward. Frank realises that his squad is not good enough, and he's playing with the handbrake on, and he's playing not to lose, and you can see it.
Yeah.
So you don't think if Kudus had Porro overlapping and there was 2 men in the box that Kudus would be a better player because he'd have more options to find rather than him picking the ball up on the halfway line and try to run and beat all 6 men on his own because no one's further forward. You don't think Kudus would look a better player in that situation?
I'll tell you what I do think. I think every player...
No, answer the question, because you just said if we played further forward, these players wouldn't be better players. I've given one scenario. If Porro overlapped Kudus and there was people in the box for Kudus to find, you don't think Kudus would become a better player?
Which players will be in the box?
But I'm saying for him doing his job. I'm not saying about the finish. Because what he said is no player would be better if we was further up the pitch. That's what he said.
I must say so. Hang on, can I give one example?
But that's the balance, Savva, isn't it? I think
Manny, I just want to answer James. I'll just give you one example of, for me, players don't run off into space. If you're on the ball and you're attacking, Frank normally pushes, particularly at home, he normally pushes the players fairly high, doesn't he? He pushes them up at home. Players have got to run off. There was a situation, I'll just give you one situation last season of laziness that cost us a goal. Romero's got the ball at Selhurst Park. Vicario's given it to him from a goal kick. He's got the ball. Basuma's 10-15 yards. All he's got to do is angle his run and give Romero an option. He didn't move. And Romero's not going to chip the ball directly over him because he's right behind the Palace player, 5 yards behind. He's not giving him a run. So Romero, nobody else is moving. So Romero's had to flick the ball across to Mickey. Mickey miscontrolled it. They broke. They've knocked the ball across. Mateta scored. Palace win 1-0. That's a typical situation where players do not make the right runs. Our players are not making the right runs. This happened today. They weren't making the runs. Romero's on the ball. Where's Paulinho and Bentancur? They're not around.
Whose fault is that? Whose fault is that, Lubo?
The players are not. Hang on. When you're playing, we've all played the game. When you're playing, you know to give that player an option. Whenever a player is on the ball, he should have 3 or 4 options. Players should be running in, moving into space for him, depending what position they are. If they're in, if it's Romero, the centre back. Mickey's got to be square so he can play a ball square. The right back's got to be square so he can play square. He doesn't have to make a risky forward pass. If it's in midfield, you've got 2 or 3 players in midfield that are showing for him. That show.
It sounds like you're all 100% blame on the players, because for me,
can I say
tactics.
I think they're
I agree. I agree, but then there have been games where they haven't been. So
Yeah, exactly.
and
That's the point, Lubo. Like,
But
if
hold on. Can I say something now, right? Because what Lubo's alluded to earlier on, and I think he's been trying to say for the last few weeks, is these players are good in a one game every so often. They might raise their levels to play to the level they should be playing.
who are the
week in,
players,
week
Danny?
out, right?
Who are the players? Name them.
What? What do you mean? Name who?
Who are the players that are only good in one game and then not good in the other?
well, it's all the bad players, isn't it? It's
Most
the
of our
retarded
players,
things.
most 3/4 of this squad. Savva mentioned it before. Paulinho, Kudus, Romero, Van der Ven, Madison when he's fit, and Kulusevski when he's fit. Those are the only players I could trust majority of the time to give us a decent performance, right? The rest of them, they can
So
play
you sell Porro.
Porro has been awful this season in an attacking
Porro
sense.
would go to most.
No, would you sell Porro?
Porro's one of the
No,
best
I
players
wouldn't
now.
sell Porro. I wouldn't sell Porro. He's one of my favorite players at Spurs. He's the most technically gifted.
Would you sell Udogie?
No, listen, you're not listening, right?
I am
Porro
listening.
has not been at the levels he was at last season in an attacking sense. He has not.
Why is that?
That's maybe on him. Every time I see him cross the
Or
ball,
is it possibly,
How
as
can
Manny
it be
is
on him,
suggesting,
Danny?
that the setup of the team via our
Agreed.
manager?
the setup of the team is part of the problem. No one says it's not part of the problem. But look at the statistics, right? We lose control of the ball more than any other team in the Premier League. Why is that? Because the players are not confident
Because we're not
enough.
practicing
hold
that
on.
shit, Danny.
Listen, yeah, we might not be practicing it, Sean, but these are professional footballers who paid a lot of money, who train every single day. I'm sure these players can learn how to control a fucking football.
What are they practicing,
Right?
Danny?
This is the truth.
Danny, what do you suspect they're
Sean,
practicing?
Sean, if you're a Premier League player, it means you are good enough to control a fucking football. That's the truth. Right?
Yeah, I'm
When I
Can
used to play football,
Can I add something?
when I used to play football, when I was
One
in
thing.
my flow, I could control anything. I could bring a ball down however hard it was, however high it was. I could bring a ball down with a touch. Are you saying these Premier League players can't do that? Seriously?
So last season, one second. So last season, when everyone blamed Ange for us conceding set pieces and aerial battles, why are we blaming Ange when it's the players that have been taught their whole life how to header a ball, how to clear a corner? Why are we blaming Ange for one thing and then not the next thing?
Because he played zonal, James. He played zonal marking last year.
Can I answer? Okay, right. Because what you're talking about, James, is coaching, right? What Danny's talking about is technical ability. There's two very different things. So I heard this mentioned the other day. People are going, we're not practicing controlling the football. This is just not true in any way, shape, or form.
They pass every day in training.
Hang on. If you go and watch any Premier League football club train, right? Any Premier League football club train, right? They train with the basics every single day, nearly in every drill that they do. Second of all, right, no manager is going to train a player how to control a ball or not. When they're that age and they're a senior pro, you can enhance it, you can develop it, but you've either got a good touch or you haven't. So, i.e., Brennan Johnson's got a terrible touch most of the time. Right?
Touch.
At this age, nobody's going to come in and go, right, suddenly Brennan Johnson's really good. What James is talking about, you're talking now about coaching. So the way a team defends a set piece, that is all pre-arranged, pre-agreed. When we defend, we either go man-to-man, we go zonal, we do a bit of both, a bit of a hybrid. But,
Within
no,
reason.
but James, that is
No,
fact.
that's
Okay. So last season,
Isn't that then?
No,
isn't
hold
that
on.
then what you do after you've defended the set piece? Then what you do with the ball is also part of that facet, right?
Of course. Absolutely, of course it is. But then that's down for the manager to try and work out who is capable of doing what with the ball. So, for example, if you are going to play, let's say managers like Pep Guardiola, right, who want to play on the ground, they want to play the passing game. Hansi Flick is another one. Vincent Kompany. The first thing those managers do when they get to a new football club is go, get me players that can play. It's the first thing they do when they go to wherever they go. Yeah, they go
We
and
were
buy.
capable last season of playing better football in the transition than we are this season, Savva. That's the question.
Because
that I
last
have.
season our attacking players were better. We had Madison, Kulu, Son, and Dominic Solanke.
I'm
All
sorry,
of
Sean.
those four
Listen,
players-
I'm loving this energy from you, Sean, right now. Because at the end of the day, at the beginning of the season, Bob, I didn't see this energy from you at the beginning of the season, Sean. I didn't see this energy from you, yeah? I didn't see this energy from you. So I don't even know why you're piping up right now, Bob. You're piping up right now. Coming at Savva. No, Bob, because I've been sitting here quietly, and I'm sitting here so quiet. Well, yeah, I know, but I'm just listening to interrupting. So I might as well just interrupt to just make myself known. So the point is, though, yeah, when you're sitting there talking about saying that, oh, Frankie's not looking good right now. When Mr. Box Office, when the main event, when the Professor Truth and Entertainment was telling you that I was a bit concerned, yeah, what were you saying? Yeah? And I've been watching you lot, yeah, on the Spurs 5, the big Spurs 5, yeah, that you've invited the Professor Truth Entertainment, because you know I'll bang you to pieces, yeah? Rattle you to pieces, yeah? Right? You've been talking about Alderbear. What did he do? What did he do, bruv?
Today,
What did the wing bats do? Adoji, yeah, who's final third shy. Third shy. What did he do? Yeah? As a wing back, yeah? And Spence, what did he do?
Are you asking me about today? If you're asking about today,
what did he do? The superstars. What did they do? Nothing.
What did they do?
I heard your question 15 times.
No, but I'm just waiting for the answer.
Alex, let him answer. I want to hear what you have to say.
I heard your question 15 times.
Sean, what did they do?
Odebear today was terrible. Odebear today was terrible. Bentancur was terrible. Kudus was Kudus was like slightly bearable. Like they were all, anyone in the forward line was terrible today. Absolutely awful. I don't even know what position Odebear was. I thought he was invisible the whole day. So, Box Office, yeah, I agree with you today. I agree with you.
Savva, can I say one last thing and then I'll jump off, right? Just one thing, because the point that you guys were making, this is in reply to Danny, right? You're spot on. Like what my biggest pet peeve last season and the season before was Ange saying, you know what? I don't need a set piece coach. We're all good. I like it to bring it in training. 100%. I agree with you, because when you say it needed coaching, 100%. But that's the point I'm trying to make at the moment with regards to our positioning sense. So when Lou was saying that our players are just lazy, that's why I can't take it, because we need better positioning in order to get ourselves out the press. I will die by this hill.
Do you know what?
Let Manny go.
Okay, sorry, go on.
Sorry, can people just please?
I'll die by this hill, right? That at the moment, when our players on the flanks get the ball, look up and lump it up, that is by instruction, and also because we can't pass ourselves out of a press. That is a coaching issue. That is Frank's job. I don't disagree with you guys when you say up top, when we do get up top, what the hell are we doing? Because we haven't got the players. I don't disagree, which is why I want Frank to be here for the next year, the very least, which is why I need Frank to be able to get 2 more transfer windows at the very least, so that we can actually judge him. However, I can judge the overall play and how we're gonna, in terms of how we get, where we're gonna get in terms of the table by the end of the season, and say, right, our players are not good enough. We ended up 7th, 8th. What can he do? I fully get that. But when I'm looking at it from game to game, I need to be able to see a little bit more than what I'm seeing now, because I don't feel like we are getting the right coaching to get ourselves out of a press, which will then help his system, which is hitting these teams in transition. I don't feel like we're getting it. But in any case, Savva, thanks so much for having me.
What I will say as well,
I will listen in the background, Danny, so you can respond.
No, I will say it, right? Take care, bro. To say on the point, the problem is that when you've got statistics that we lose control of a ball more than any other team, it tells you one of two things: the players are not good enough at controlling the football, or they're not confident enough at controlling the football. Because everything in football, in life, comes down to confidence. To be good at something, you have to be confident within yourself, right? If you're not confident within yourself, you cannot be good at something. That's just how it is. That's how life works.
Or maybe
both.
option 3, Danny, which is that they're being asked to participate in footballing.
So you're telling me, Frank,
I haven't even finished the sentence.
Wait, I haven't finished my point, Sean. So let me finish my
Yeah,
point.
but I'm just saying that you said there's two things.
Hold on. Yeah, but you can't. Let me finish first, then you can rebuttal, right?
Is there a third thing?
The other thing is, Sean, is that so. First of all, you're telling me that Frank is telling them, right? Be shit at controlling a football. Is he telling?
That's not what I'm saying at all.
Okay, but go on. I want to go on.
No,
go
I
on.
was just saying. You said that controlling a football comes down to two things, right? One or the two things. I'm saying, or the third thing, which you haven't identified, is maybe that the players are being asked like to do things, or not being told how to circumvent scenarios in which they're not putting scenarios whereby controlling a football is more difficult. It's not just down to confidence or tactics. It might be that there's horses for courses, and that certain players are better receiving the ball in certain situations that our particular playing staff at the moment are not being utilised to offer. And yet under Ange Postecoglou, they were on the offensive side.
Danny, can I offer?
Go on, Sean. Go on, Sam.
I was only in it. I just want to. Don't you think the fact is? Let me try and bring this back, right? Don't you think? Forget Ange, Frank, Conte, Jose. Forget who the manager and name is. Forget the players. Surely the fact that we're out here week in, week out, season in, season out, game in, game out, complaining about the same things tells you there is a quality issue, right? There has always been a quality issue, right? We were not having these conversations under Pochettino's team because all of the players in Pochettino's team were technically very, very good and they were quality footballers.
All Redknapp's team, Sav.
All Redknapp's team, right. The problem I think that we've got now, and I think there's plenty of this blame pie to go around, right? I do. I think there's plenty of this blame plot. We can blame Frank for this. We can blame Romero and Van de Ven for that. We can blame Richie for this and the midfielders for that. Problem is, none of this is ever going to get cured, right? And by the way, sorry. I'm just going to say sorry. No, Pochettino didn't coach Christian Eriksen how to control a football or them. No, this is. I don't think people understand. I don't think people understand what coaching is. If you think that those boys couldn't control a football when Pochettino turned up to the club, then you are wildly mistaken on how football works, right? The reason we're miscontrolling a ball now could be for many reasons. It's not because they're not working on it in training, right? Maybe the style of play isn't working, right? Maybe, like Sean said, different scenarios. But mainly, if you look at the players that are miscontrolling the ball, it's the same players over and over again, which tells you it's a quality issue. Right now, if Tottenham had Dimitar Berbatov, Christian Eriksen, and Rafa van der Vaart in this team under Thomas Frank, they would all be able to control a ball in no matter what formation or style of play Thomas Frank is playing because they are technically quality footballers.
Does Xavi Simons fall under that bucket, Savva?
Yeah, but the thing is with Xavi Simons is Simons.
I'm not asking you as like I'm not trying to attack you. I'm just asking.
I think Xavi Simons needs to settle. Xavi Simons needs to settle, and I think Xavi Simons is a victim at the moment of Frank and the team not knowing what the team is, not knowing what the best 11 is, not knowing what the best formation is. Xavi Simons is taking time to settle. Now, do you give no attention at all to the idea that potentially the setup of the team isolates the front three, front four? If Xavi's in there, he doesn't have enough options like he would do in a different team like Holland or PSV or whatever else. Sure, but when you look at the teams he's played with technically proficient footballers all around him. So if you actually hang on,
he played with Savinho.
Football, the one thing that hang on.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Okay, so the one thing from all the Dutch footballers is they're technically proficient. Right? They all grow up playing that way. When he was at RB Leipzig, he's playing with really good footballers around him that they all play well together. At the moment, by the way, this sounds like I'm making excuses for Xavi. I'm not. I think Xavi Simons is going to take time to settle. I think he's a very good footballer, needs to take time to settle. But what you can see is when Xavi Simons looks around, you can see he wants to play the give and goes.
He's looking for where's my support, correct?
Yes.
Right, sure, but he's looking up.
And
you can see-
my assertion, Savva,
Hang on,
is
can I-
there is no support by design.
Sure, but this is where we disagree because you can see Xavi Simons looking. Kudus does it. Kudus looks up and you can see him going, if I play this ball into Richarlison, the move is dead. If I play this ball into this player like Sarr, the move is dead. If you put these technically proficient players around other technically proficient players, it's amazing how different they look. So I want to see what happens in the next windows when we do this, right? This is why in the next windows, I don't want to see Mortels, Odebers, Greys, Sars, Bergvals. I don't want to see these players. I want Spurs to go out and go, right, here's three or four.
Do you think Bentancur's a technically proficient player?
I think Bentancur's neat and tidy, but he's not got that speed of Xavi Simons, Kudus. They want to give, they want to go. They're
good in tight positions.
Low center of gravity. Bentancur's more of your. Let me just.
I agree with. I agree with you generally. I definitely agree with you generally, 100%. But I also think that your take is abdicating any level of accountability to the style of play, the setup, which I think is very clear and obvious to me.
Sure, but I said this in the summer though, right? Like before I saw the style of play and the setup, I turned around and said, I don't expect Spurs to play any decent football. When I look at the options.
I said that in the summer, but that doesn't negate the point that the manager of the football club right now, Thomas Frank, to me, and I've on my channel for the last 2 weeks, I've spent an hour every day showing 10 different examples from 10 different games, screenshots galore of scenarios where Xavi Simons is looking around and he's literally doing this, going like, what am I doing? And it's not because he's not looking up and seeing. He's got Kudus to the right, he's got Odegaard to the left. He might, there might be scenarios. We all agree about Richarlison, right? But everybody else, the fullback that last year was in the false 10, Pedro Porro. The fullback last season was in the false left 10 in Udogie. Right, this time round, they're told to hang back as deep as the centre backs, and the double pivot are asked to hang back just as deep. Right, and I'm sorry, last sentence, I'll shut up. I've shown that not just in the United game, and I will do it tomorrow in the Arsenal game. There was plenty of examples of it in the Arsenal game, in the Copenhagen game, in the Wolves game, in the Villa game, in the Bournemouth game, in the Everton game. There are examples in every game. We win, lose, or draw, away or home. There are examples of this in every single game where Xavi Simons gets the ball on the halfway line and he turns around and he sees 6 players behind him that are not allowed to move forward.
Sure, but so couldn't we say for every example, you can bring up a screenshot? How many times against Aston Villa, for example, in that first half against Aston Villa, where Spurs flooded forward quickly, so what you were saying didn't happen. We had bodies forward, and the number of times the ball went in to an Odegaard.
Let's kind of safer score and get the heat maps.
Hang on, let me talk. All right, the number of times the ball went into an Odegaard or a Tell or whoever was up front in that game. And you're thinking, make the right decision. They didn't. Yeah. They lost the ball and it comes back. So I get it. I'm not saying it's always great. It's always perfect. But to say that this is what we do by design every game.
You literally just said what you're saying didn't happen, right? So you're saying, let me finish. But in the first few words of your sentence, you're saying that what I said is false or a lie or disingenuous or whatever.
No.
I can literally bring up I can show you right now the screenshots to validate my point. It's not an opinion.
I said you got them. If you actually listen to what I said, I didn't say it was a lie.
You literally just said, mate, what you said, Sean, didn't happen against Villa. And I can show you that it did.
But against Villa, we all remember how many times in that first half where I think Tell was twice where he got the ball. We pushed forward. I think it was Bentancur actually won the ball, put it forward early. We had 3 or 4 going forward. It was Simons, Tell, Odegaard, And it was like, do something wrong pass, do something wrong
Yeah.
pass. And you
Yeah.
could see Xavi Simons going like, listen, there are other games where what you're saying absolutely happens, right? There are other games where it doesn't. I'm not saying that, but I don't think Thomas Frank, it's only my opinion, I don't think he trusts or thinks these players are good enough. Now, listen,
Facts.
whether people think this is an excuse or not, I don't think most of these players are good enough. I look at the Tells, I look at the Odebergs, the Johnsons, the Richarlisons, I even look at Mawani. I'm looking at these people and going, these people should not be at Tottenham Hotspur, right? It doesn't matter how much people want to defend them, right? Surely the reason why we all debate these players is simple, because they're not good enough. If they were good enough, we wouldn't debate them. No one's sitting here. No one sat here and debated whether or not Christian Eriksen should be at Tottenham or not, right? It was just like, how good is Christian Eriksen, right? No one was debating Son. No one was debating Kane. No one was debating Dele Alli until the drop-off. No one was debating Moussa Dembele because they were top quality footballers. Problem is now, every single show, we're all rowing about who should play midfield. Should it be Bergvall or Sarr? Who should play right back? Is it Spencer or Porro? Who should play left wing? Is it Odeberg or Tell or Johnson? The fact that we're having these conversations tells you, surely it tells us that these players aren't good enough. So what do I expect from the team this season due to that? Not a lot. Do I think we're going to be bottom half? No, I don't. I think we will end up in the top half. But am I expecting Spurs to be this free-flowing football team that play really good? No, because I don't think we've got the 4 key components to make that happen. We have not got a ball-playing number 8 anywhere in this football squad. Nowhere. Not one.
We need 2.
Right? I know we need 2, but we've not got one. Right? We've not got one. We've not got a decent left winger anywhere in sight. Right? We have not got a goal-scoring midfielder anywhere in sight now that Maddison is out. And we have not got a goal-scoring goal striker now that we've assembled this group of players. Suddenly, if we change that, sorry for the long-winded vent or rant or whatever, suddenly Spurs go out and buy that goal-scoring midfielder, right? Or if we had Maddison, if you go and buy that proper left winger like a Semenyo, if you go and buy a number 8 like a Wharton or a Stiller or a Ruben Neves, and now you go and buy an Ivan Toney, just by way of example, an Ivan Toney, suddenly this football that everyone's complaining about isn't as bad because all of those players are technically proficient. All of them have got goals in them. All of them are seasoned pros. All of them are of good quality. I'm not saying they're the best, but all of them are of good quality where you watch Spurs and you'd go, yeah. So that's why I'm not. Do I want to see more? Absolutely. Has Frank got things wrong? Absolutely. But right now, I'm looking at this squad and going, this is a real painful, for me, this is a painful squad with complete lack of technical ability everywhere. I keep hearing rave reviews about Adogi.
But I've got a problem. I've got a problem with what people say, though, because the thing is that when people say to me they rate Alderbear, when people say to me they rate Mattis Tell, and there's even people now saying that they rate Richarlison, which again, after how many years of being here, and you still don't realise that he's crap. I don't understand it. But anyway, moving on. Right, what is the excuse for Xavi Simons? Right, and what is the excuse for Mawani? Right, because we had the same argument about Mattis Tell was on loan. Right, what has he done? Right, and we had the same argument about Timo Werner. Remember Timo Werner that was on loan that we got on? You know what I mean? Like, what has Mawani done?
You're making about Mawani not being kept. Sorry, I'm just trying to understand the point.
Mawani's done absolutely nothing. He had to hit the ground running. He came in as that striker that hit the ground running, right? Because the focus was with Thomas Frank was to sort out the defence to make sure we weren't leaking goals, right? So we needed attacking players to hit the ground running. Xavi Simons was one of them. Yeah, that I was told that was going to be revolutionising our attack, right? He's done nothing, right? Alex. And also Mawani, right? Alex, and Mawani's done absolutely nothing. I'm not hearing the excuses. I'm not hearing the excuses that he was injured. He played all summer last summer.
Let me ask you a question. Can I ask you a question? You're manager of a football team, yeah?
Yeah, go on.
Go on. You've had all your players in. They've been training for 2 months, 2.5 months. You've had all your players in. Player turns up, end of the transfer window. He's done nothing for 11 weeks. You look at the players that are trained, that are fit, and then you've got a player who's done nothing for 11 weeks. Who do you think is going to do it for you?
Okay, fair enough, but don't get him on loan then. Don't get him on loan then. Don't get him on loan then. Don't get him. Don't bother with him then. It's a waste of time. A waste of time. You know what I mean? Because you've only got time's ticking, Lubo. Time's ticking. At the end of the season, he'll be finito. God, that's it been done. I don't need him.
I actually agree.
What's about with Scarlett, bruv? What's about with Scarlett, bro?
He's picked up 2
No,
injuries.
bruv, I've got energy, bruv. I've got energy. Sorry, bruv.
It happens. No, you're not accepting the facts. The facts are the guy hasn't come in, been fully fit and played through and been shit. The guy has missed. He's not even up to speed yet. He's been injured twice. Whether we should have taken him on loan is a good question. That's a good question. But
it was a panic signing, wasn't it?
Fine. Because
you know what, Lubo, right? I actually think that Alex has just dropped onto a really, really like quite insightful point there without giving him blowing too much smoke up his ass. I actually think that there's probably some value in just being entirely impatient and just owning it and saying, you know what, these guys are being paid millions of pounds a year. And there isn't absolutely zero patience in this world. It's not just in their walk of life. It's in everyone's walk of life. You're furious with the Royal Mail if they said that they were going to deliver your latest, package of teapots or whatever from Amazon yesterday and only got today. You're furious when you get to the underground station and you missed a tube train by 1 minute. Like, you're furious with everyone for lack of performance on time in a world of impatience. Maybe we should all just get on board this notion of like entirely like unempathetic levels of impatience for anything other than success in a super short period of time. I'm actually getting frustrated with Thomas Frank. I hear the notion of like give the guy time. I hear the notion of give Mawani time, Richarlison, whatever else, figure it out. But actually, I'm only saying that shit like, oh yeah, I get it because I'm supposed to. In reality, in every other walk of life that I have to operate, I am very unempathetic to anybody else's mishaps if they don't deliver what they're supposed to deliver on time immediately. And I think that maybe, you know what? Maybe we're supposed to be impatient with managers as well. Maybe that's just part of the game.
Can I ask a question? His question was, why sign him then? That was the question he asked. Was that's what you said? Box office, yeah. Why sign him then? So the question, the answer to that is because Dominic Solanke pulls up injured last at a transfer window, and then Mawani's the only option to sign on loan. That's why you sign him. Or do you say no to that signing? So then, well, yeah, of course. But do you say no to that loan signing and then get left with just Richarlison, and then Richarlison goes down, and then we have no one? Well, so there is reasons behind the signing. It's not like we've gone out, picked him straight away and gone, yeah, we're going to sign you on loan. It wasn't like that, was it?
Yeah, but we've got Scarlett, we've got Liverpool. What is it? Who's gone on loan?
Who you slate? Scarlett, you slate. Lancashire, you slate. Richarlison, you slate. So you want us now to keep these crap players.
Regardless of James, the point I'm making is we all know that what is it? The player that is injured now, right? He's not been since Bournemouth. He hasn't been fit. He's had a record of not being fit all the time. So what's the point?
Because you can't tell the future. So we shouldn't sign. Say for example, Semenyo comes up available, and then we sign him and he does an ACL when he's out for 2 years. Just say, why should we have signed him? That's the most stupid debate I've ever heard.
Yeah, but we're talking about a player that's always been injured, though. He's only had one season.
He wasn't last season for Juventus. It wasn't last year for Juventus.
I'm not talking about our striker. I forgot his name now. That's injured.
Mawani.
No, not Mawani.
Can I add a point in here? James, can I add a point?
Dominic Solanke wasn't injured in the last season for Bournemouth where he scored all those goals either.
That's his only season, bro. Only season.
Can I add something in here, guys? I feel like this is we're kind of stumbling into a different. Thanks, Sean. Appreciate that. Thanks, Sean. I feel like we're stumbling into a different area here, and I think one of the key things for me is, look, I mean, I'm really bored of the Frank in-out discussion. I just think it's far too early. I can't imagine that the Spurs board paid 10 million to get him and his staff out of Brentford and are going to sack him in November. I feel like how emotional we're being, I don't think that's going to happen. So we'll move on. Do we all agree that Thomas Frank needs to change things and make us better? Yes. Let's move on, right? I think what we're seeing a lot of this, guys, is, and again, it's going to sound like I'm in the Lubo fan club tonight, but we are seeing, forget whoever the manager is, we are now seeing more and more as every year rolls by, what happens when you have years and years and years of neglect in the transfer market, going cheap, going young, right? And buying average footballers. What ends up happening is you end up building a squad of 25 footballers where most of us all sit there and say there's 5 or 6 really good ones and the rest are made up of kids or deadwood. And I don't think, guys, and this is the thing, as I was trying to say earlier before, I'm not married to a manager at all. Like, if Frank's sacked, bring in the next guy. But then the next guy, if it's Frank or the next guy, right, they've got to be backed. Whoever the manager of this football club is needs to be backed over a number of windows, right? Not, oh, they brought in a couple of players in the summer, right? It needs to be backed January, then the summer, then January, then the summer. Now, I'll ask this question, right? If we do get rid of this manager now because fans don't like his style of play and the new manager comes in and we don't like that after 3 months, at what stage do we start to become really unattractive to both new managers and new players, guys? At what point do we start looking like a bit of a, what are they doing there? Because Arsenal went through this, didn't they? Arsenal went through this with Arteta, 8th, 5th. And in those 3 years, like Stel pointed out the other day, what did Arteta do in those first 3 years? He got rid of all the crap, didn't he? Even if they had big names, he got rid of all of them. The Aubameyangs, the Lacazettes,
that's what I said at the start, wasn't it?
Mesut Ozil. He started getting rid of all these players, right? And Arsenal fans for years were going, this guy's, put it this way, Spurs fans, how much were we laughing at Arsenal under Arteta? Right? This guy's crap. Keep him on board. Now we're looking at them, how they play today and how they play this season, and we're going, that is 6 years of backing a manager, of building a squad and staying consistent.
Agreed.
Why can't we do that here? What is our preset default setting where we're all, this hasn't worked, it's been 3 months, get him out. Now, maybe if I'm guilty of this in the past, I am. But
so we've had 17, 18 managers this century. I think Arsenal have had 3, 2. Wenger came in
Wenger, Emery, and Arteta.
Up 3. They've had 3. Even Emery won the FA Cup, didn't he? I think did Emery win the FA Cup with him? He may have done, or maybe it was Wenger. But they have consistently won trophies. Our fan base can see that we don't have the squad. They can see how the club's been run. And I go back again, the Kroenkes treated Arsenal in exactly the same way as Enoch treated Tottenham, up to the debacle over the Super League 5-6 years ago. And then Josh Kroenke was sent across by his dad, worked full time. Stan said, right, this sporting franchise, I want to win. It's the only one basically that he hasn't won a championship, one of his sporting franchises. They have taken it very seriously. They have backed Arteta. They have stuck with him. The way Klopp was stuck with Liverpool. Liverpool stood by him. After 4 years, he got the Champions League. 5 years, he got the Premier League. Pep's been there for donkey. He's been there 10 years now, I think. Wenger was there, Ferguson was there, and I'm not saying that managers are going to last the length of time that Wenger and Ferguson have, because football's moved on and changed big time. But if you look at, apart from Chelsea with the anomaly, and they had Abramovich's money, he would throw whatever it took to bring the best players in, whatever the manager was. And you know what? They also knew what they were doing, and they picked some bloody good managers, one after another. So what you've ended up with is you've ended up with a club that's rudderless, that's going nowhere, that's got no ambition, that doesn't go out of its way to bring in the best players and pay the best wages, or anywhere near the best players and best wages. You had an owner who was working from a distance. He put his chairman in charge on a day-to-day basis. It was only interesting. I mean, the pair of them. I don't just blame Levy. I blame Lewis as well. They're only in it for the profit. So, and the difference between, if you look at it, Poch joined on the 19th of November. Poch was sacked on the 19th of November, and we've had 6 years since then. Arteta celebrates 6 years this coming Wednesday, and you look at the managers we've had, and the lack of proper back. I'm talking about proper backing. I'm not talking about the amount of money, because you can give anybody massive money, but if it's
not quantity.
Correct. If it's not funneled in the right direction, it's blown. You might as well piss it down the toilet. And that's what we have done with a lot of our players. We haven't bought enough top quality. We've bought plenty of kids who are not ready for the first team. So you've got a massive gap. And this is why we are miles behind Arsenal. And you could see it today. They bought very cleverly. They bought clinically, strategically for the last 6 years, and they're miles clear of us. And for me, the biggest upset for me this today wasn't the fact we played 5 at the back, wasn't the fact that we got beaten 4-1. I've been at the Emirates 10, 12 years ago when we lost 5-2 2 years running. It happens. These defeats happen. The fact for me was that the players aren't of the sufficient they haven't got the mentality that top players have, and I'm disappointed in the top players we had today, who weren't on it. All the goals came through the middle with a back 5 and 2 central defenders. That should never ever happen. But for me, we don't have enough good players, and we can argue whatever we argue about the system, whether he's got the handbrake on, whether he's not got the handbrake on. So he takes the handbrake off. We play a little bit. We commit more and more players forwards. We haven't got players technically who can control the ball. So we're going to leave ourselves wide open at the back, lose the ball up front in transition. We've got players committed. It's going to be like mini Ange all over again.
Yeah, we'll concede the far.
Can I ask you a question, Lubo? Just quickly before I move on to the others.
This is what I kind of, in a weird way, I kind of want him to do it, because I think then the fans will actually see that if he goes more attacking, this team is going to get opened up like no tomorrow. Like, this team is like not good enough, and I don't know why fans keep saying, "Oh, but we can go more attacking." I'm with you guys, right? And I've been saying this for a while, that for me, you can clearly see that he's holding the handbrake is on with this team, right? You can clearly see it. Yeah, I've been saying this for weeks, Lubo, right? He does not trust them because
they're not good enough.
Yeah, because the statistic is that we lose control of the ball more than any other team in the Premier League.
So if we play further forward, Danny, he is playing to his strengths. His better players are defenders.
Yeah.
That's his strongest area. Out defence, midfield, attack. His defence is much stronger. What's he going to do? He's in a horrendous position. He wants to win games of football, but he doesn't trust the players that he's been given.
Yep.
Right? And he's got a squad of 25. 4 of them are new, of which Moan is hardly played and Sims is taking time. So you've literally got 2 players out of probably 2021 that he's played this season. The rest of them are old players. They're not his players.
But can I ask you guys a question, right? I feel like look, we've done the Thomas Frank thing to death. We can talk about our tactics. The one worrying thing for me was when you looked at that team man for man against our team today, and you look at just when you've got fans that say things like we're 3 players short. I look at this is the benchmark now. Now people will go, "Oh, Arteta, Arsenal, you're a Spurs fan," but these are the benchmark. This is the team that are currently 6 points top of the table, have lost 1 game and conceded 6 goals in 12. Right? People say we're 3 or 4 short. I think we're 15 short. Right? Yeah. I looked at that 11 today that Arsenal had, man for man. Right? They were superior to us, player for player. Forget tactic, player for player, superior. Yep. I'm looking at Zubimendi and Rice versus R2 and going, wow, right? Yeah. I'm looking at Trossard, who for me, Trossard's never been a mainstay for them, but rotates for them. I'm looking at him for anything we've got on our left. Yep. Saka, better than Kudus. Sorry to say it, right? I'm looking at Mikel Merino as a false 9. Oh, he's doing better centre forward things than Richie and Solanke and those lot do, right?
You see the ball he did today.
But my point is, right, when you look at all of those players, right, when you look at all those Arsenal players, you think that has been put together. Now, people don't like the example because it's Arsenal, but those players have been put together over 12 transfer windows, right? That squad has been put together and ripped apart and put together and ripped apart over 12 windows. Bearing in mind that Mikel Arteta had never been a manager before. Now, let's look at Spurs. We are 12 games into a manager's tenure with 1 window, and we're all going, this ain't the guy, nothing can ever work. And I think to myself, if this is how we're going to judge, if this is what we're going to judge by, we are never, ever going to build anything. Not rebuild. I don't like the word rebuild because we're not rebuilding from anything. We're never going to build anything if we don't go through some pain. But our fans, hang on, Danny, last thing I'll say, especially online fans, I can see it all through my watch along. I see all these YouTuber videos wanting to call out Frank immediately and get on his back. And I sit there and think to myself, we have not got the maturity, right? Or the big boy pants, big boy and big girl pants to say, yeah, this is going to be rough for a bit, right? We've given it 12 games and a section of the fan base, this guy was never the one, get rid of him, blah, blah. Until we do that, until we go through a bit of pain, Danny, we're going to be having this conversation next year with, Glasner involved. We're going to be going through it the year after with Iriola as the manager. If we keep doing this, if we keep doing it, what hope do we ever have of being a really successful football club?
We can't, because you can't build anything. Like people forget, right? People want instant success, right? That's just the nature of football fans. To be honest, anything in life, people want things instantly, right? They want instant this, instant that, instant dopamine, instant whatever it is. But the problem is, Lubo, right? That when, if you want an actual, let's just say a legacy, right? You have to build that. It doesn't come overnight, right? How many years did it take Jurgen Klopp to get that team, right, completely overhauled? Every single player in the squad that he had when he first joined to the first year that he started winning things, which took about 4 years. 4 years for him to overhaul the whole squad. And when he went and got Mane and when he went and got Alisson, Van Dijk,
2016. That was 2016, Danny.
Yeah, but when those 2 players, Van Dijk and Alisson, came in, right, it changed everything for them.
That was 2018.
It changed everything for them. They won everything, right? And they were so competitive with Man City, who were the best team in the country by a mile, right? That tells you, look at Arsenal, 6.5 years they've had Arteta nearly, right? And And only this season is the first season where they are now the favourites for all the competitions they're in. They're one of the favourites in the Champions League. They're one of the favourites in the Premier League. But that's because Arteta has completely overhauled every single player in that squad, right? Apart from Saka. That's the only player. Everyone else is gone, right? So if Tottenham fans want what Arsenal have got now, or what Liverpool have had in the past, right? We have to go through a period where we're going to have 2 or 3 years where it's going to be up and down, but you've got to stick with a manager. And if it's not going to be Frank, right, then they've got to pick a manager and stick with that manager. Because the manager can't keep coming in. Because what keeps happening at this club is you bring in Ange, right? He's here for 2 years, right? He brings in his shit. He brings in Dominic Solanke, bloody Brennan Johnson for over 120 million nearly on those 2 players, right?
Nicky Van der Ven.
Right, and he's probably looking at who is that? James
Van der Ven.
Van der Ven.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is, but majority of Ange's players that he brought in were not that great, right? They weren't. We already had a lot of the players there already, right? I know Maddison came in; that was a great buy, but
it was okay, Danny. It was okay. It wasn't great. It was okay.
Again, if we keep chopping,
I don't blame Ange.
No, I know, but I'm saying if we keep chopping and changing the managers and only bringing in youngsters majority of the time, we're never going to build a club that's competitive enough to challenge for the things what people want to challenge for.
Before I bring Alex in, lots of people are saying in the chat, and I think this is where sometimes take a step back, people. There's lots of people in the chat saying, yeah, but the difference was Klopp was a winner before he came in. Frank's never won anything. There's nothing saying that Thomas Frank has to be here. Hang on. There's nothing saying that Thomas Frank has to be here forever, right? Thomas Frank might be here for a couple of years to really steady the ship, start putting something together, and then we might improve upon that. But the problem is, guys, let's talk about this, right? If Spurs go out and bring in a winner, right? We did that with Conte. We did that with Jose. But can I tell you something? Those guys are only winners when they've got the players to win. So we could go out right now and go, right, who's a winner? We could go out and go, cool, I'm getting Hansi Flick as manager of Tottenham Hotspur. Brilliant. You bring in Hansi Flick. Hansi Flick's going to turn around and go, right, how much money am I getting to revamp this lot? Right? Any manager, you bring in Carlo Ancelotti, you bring in Pep, those winners come in and they demand players that can win. So when people are going, he's not a winner, he's not a winner. You name me a manager right now who's taking over this squad and challenging for league titles and Champions Leagues. Who? It's not happening. So let it play out for a little bit. We've become this now era, right? But again, Jimmy, when you're saying you'll see instant better team with the players we have under those coaches, but these players played last year and were losing every week, right? Now under Frank, they're not playing great football. So why is a new manager going to come in, suddenly going to make them suddenly? This is the thing. We're not using our brains. Listen, I love Iraola, by the way. I love Iraola. I think he's a great manager. But guess what, guys? If Tottenham went and bought in Iraola right now, you're going to need to give Iraola time and transfer windows, right? You're going to need to give him time. This is it. So
he also plays, Stav. He also plays one way only. And he's like Ange. He's intransigent. And let me tell you, Iraola's Bournemouth.
Glasner, by the way, Lubo. So is Glasner.
Right. And Bournemouth have let in 20 goals this season already.
Absolutely.
20 goals.
Absolutely.
I think the difference is, though, the difference is at the moment, though, is that this season, he will get the time. If he's still in the top 10, top 6, or top 8, he will still get the time. He will be here next season. He will get a season, Thomas Frank. Difference is with me at the moment, I'm still judging what I'm seeing because my eyes are not lying to me. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna just lie about what I'm seeing in the day. You know what I mean? It's like today, for instance, when I'm seeing wing-backs playing wing-backs like Jed Spence and the Doji, who are supposedly wing-backs at trait, that for me was the outball of trying to attack. We didn't see that today. Now, whether that is
sure, but
down to the
against Arsenal, against
yeah,
the
no,
best
I
team
get
in
you.
Europe, like
Yeah, I get you. But the thing is,
Come
though,
on.
Savva, though, yeah, is that for me, that was for me. If you're gonna big up these players, for me, they could have done a little bit more in the attacking sense to try and help
Sure.
us get a little bit more
Sure.
forward. Now, listen, I predicted a draw, so I'm a bit of a mug. You know what I mean? Because I thought that lots of pressure on Arsenal.
Just
We've
a
been
prediction,
resilient. We have been resilient. Yeah, but from what I've seen, Savva, right? We've been resilient when we didn't deserve to get results, right? Okay, so I thought we could have got a draw, right? But to be honest, I'm watching that. I'm very worried now because we've got PSG next, and that I thought we're going to get a thrashing. You know what I mean? Because that's a completely different animal. But for me, like the concern for me was the wing backs. That was the main thing for me. I'm not really expecting too much from my midfield. I was concerned that we played with Charleston up front. I think we could have been more creative. We could put Kudus up front. We could have done that because I think it's pointless putting him up front. And yeah, maybe could have done a little bit better with the midfield, maybe possibly.
Alex,
But I understand why he's done that. But I just think the wing back for me were the ones that were concerning me, and that's where we lost the game for me.
No, it wasn't. Alex,
Oh, I thought it was
Alex,
because how many times did he go down the right? Then how many times did he go down the right?
Go back and watch the game and see where the 4 goals all came from.
From the right. From Doji's area. Doji's area. That's why.
They all come from the middle, mate.
All central.
They all came centrally.
They all came central.
All the middle, Alex.
All down the middle. Look where Eze was for his 3 goals, and look where Trossard made the run. Look, he cuts across. I think was it Marino chipped the ball over. Danso lost his man. Didn't see the run. Didn't pick the run down. So he got lucky, Trossard, because his shot was going straight to Vicario and Van der Ven diverted.
It was a good pass from Marino.
It was a great pass.
It was coming from the sides though. It did come
no,
from
it
the
didn't.
side.
It came from the middle. It came from central midfield. Marino chipped the ball
scooped it over the centre back. Yeah, he literally scooped it directly down the middle over. And for me,
all the goals came central today. That's what they didn't come from the wings. They didn't come.
For me, I will look at Frank when we get a new midfielder, a left winger, and a striker.
I never want to see Bentancur in that team again, ever. Never want to see him in that team.
The problem is when you take out Bentancur.
One. 3 of you are talking. I can't hear a thing.
The thing is, go on,
Johnson. Go on.
The thing is, for me, so it's all right, well and good saying I never want to see Bentancur in the middle. Every time we rotate, we get worse. So that for me is one of those things. It's all well and good saying that, but you will say that one game and go, well, why wasn't Bentancur there? So it's a lose for Frank in that respect. For me,
James,
like I'm going to say,
involved in all the good games we've had. This is the thing.
Yeah,
this is what makes it hard. In all the best games we've had this year, Bentancur's been involved in. But this is what I mean. I'll call Lubo out for this. I always do. He keeps screaming and shouting about Bentancur, but there's no one better to put in midfield in front of him, and that's the problem. That is the problem.
For me, absolutely.
He keeps talking about Archie Gray, but we've got no evidence that Archie Gray is that guy.
I would give him a run, Sav. I would give him a run and see if he's good enough. Definitely. This is the
time. You would play Archie Gray over Bentancur against PSG.
Not against PSG, but would against Fulham.
So why?
I would have played.
Wait, Alex, wait. So PSG are the better team, and you're going to not play Bentancur. Why?
I wouldn't play Bentancur against PSG either.
Why?
Because I don't rate him. I
think
his injuries have killed him, James. I think he was a bloody good player when Conte brought him, and I loved him in his first season. But the 2 injuries have killed him. He's nowhere near the player he was.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. We are not going forward with Bentancur in the team. To use Sam's words, your words, I'll take the pain. I'd rather play both.
I would have agreed to put Gray. I would have agreed to put Gray at right centre back But if he can't put him at right centre back, I don't know why he's here.
It's not a
I've got
centre
no
back.
idea why he's
No.
here. Because the
No.
reason why I would have put him, because I would try to do the back three, but at the moment that's not going to work anymore for me. It's done with at the end of the day
Can I
because
ask you
it
a
was just
question?
too defensive.
Can I say what I was going to say about the signings? Just because
sorry.
obviously before, yeah, sorry. I think that if we signed a number 8, I'm just going to pick the names because they're who we've been linked with: Semenyo and an Ivan Toney. If we are going to get Ivan Toney, Semenyo, and a number 8, I then would say, right, Frank, you've got no excuses now. We've got an 11. Not saying that we should be winning week in, week out, but we have an 11 now to start actually going out and beating teams as such. And then not just that, I think that you'll see better out of the likes of Xavi, because I think the problem with Xavi, and actually Kudos, to be honest, and I'm not saying Kudos has played bad. I think he's done really well. But I think the problem with Kudos is he's expected to come in day one and get 30 goals this season and 30 assists this season, and then everything should be right. Wow, what a player! Whereas I think if we was to sign Semenyo and Tony, for example, just because again they're the names people are saying, I naturally think then Xavi goes, right, now I've got 3-4 players running into space here.
Yeah.
This should
I don't
be
think
an
anything
easy job.
changes though. I don't think anything changes. I don't think anything changes.
It will only
think-
change, James. It will only change. It will
I
only
don't think
change
anything
once
changes.
How would it change by signing better players? That's
I just
really-
don't think. I don't know. I don't know if Frank's got it in him at the moment because I don't think he's got it at the end of the day. I think that,
Look-
again, it's about what you see at the end of the day, and I don't think
Yeah,
it's.
but don't we need
it's
to
gonna
see him get
change.
his players to
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
No, you didn't hear me. You didn't hear me. I'm saying even if he gets the
I
players,
don't think he's got it
I
in him.
don't know. I don't know. No, let me finish because you're not listening to me. My point is, right?
What?
I'm saying that if he gets the players, I don't know if he's going to play attacking football still. I don't
That's
know
not
about
what
that.
I agree with that. We won't know.
You know, there's no rule that says every team has to play attacking football. Maybe he plays effective football.
Yeah,
Like,
probably, but at the
if you-
moment, from
If you actually looked at Brentford, for example, Brentford's scored loads and loads of goals under him. Now they weren't the most attacking team, but they were effective. But when we're saying we don't know if Frank's got it, can we at least let a manager have a couple of transfer windows, like
Yeah, but-
before we
Sav-
do this?
Savva, you can say that all you want, but unfortunately, from what I've seen, right, and I'm just going what I see because I've just watched the matches. It's what I'm seeing. I'm not going on what you're seeing, your eyes. I'm going from what I've seen, right. I'm not convinced by what I've seen.
No,
Right.
yeah, but Alex,
So-
Alex. So now, listen to what I've actually said.
Yeah.
I'm not convinced by what I've seen because I don't think we've got the players to see it. My point is, if you give this man what he needs, this man wanted Eze, right? You could see today why he wanted Eze. This man wanted Morgan Rogers. You see that Morgan Rogers grabbed a couple of goals again today. You can see why he wanted Rogers. This guy wanted Morgan Gibbs-White. This guy, so far,
Scored
has
again,
asked
so.
for very good footballers that are physical, powerful, and good, and have good engines, good legs on them. What we're actually seeing him having to play with is people like Bentancur, right?
Yeah.
And then loads of kids like Gray and Bergvall, right? If this manager was given these players he wanted, by the way, this isn't this manager. Any manager, if they are given the players that they want within reason, then we judge them, right? Alex, surely then we judge them. Right now, we're judging this man on, he hasn't even had Mawani. I mean, Mawani was given to him as the season was ending, not fit. So he's had no time in the summer with Mawani. Simmons was given to him once the season started, so no pre-season with Simmons. And he's been given Paulinho and Kudus, right? Can we not say, have January, have the summer, let's see, next December, next November, where are we?
But
Also,
Savva,
Sav,
he's
can I
so
just say one thing, Alex?
defensive.
Just one quick thing. Also, right? I think with the players, when you have better quality players, a lot of the players tend to raise their game because there's more competition. Right?
Yeah.
When there's a lower level of competition, the players don't try hard enough. So at the moment, players like Xavi and Kudus, you can physically see their frustration in games because they are looking up, they're looking around, and they see the players they're playing with, and they're not at the same level as them. So they get frustrated, right? Now, I'm just going to give you another example, but when it comes to a manager and a player, right? Do any of you guys remember when Harry Kane didn't get the move to Man City and Nuno was the manager? Was it before Conte came in, right? Was it was Nuno's the manager, right? Harry Kane down tools. And I remember, right, before Conte came in, right, I was going to the games, like a lot of you guys probably were, and I was watching Harry Kane so bad. He was awful. He didn't care, he didn't want to, he just looked around like he was a miserable, right? As soon as Conte came in, it was bang. The switch triggered in his head, and Harry Kane came back. He started banging in the goals left, right, and center. Right. What I'm trying to say is that the same kind of feeling happens for the players when they're playing with shitter players around them. When they know they are much better than the players they're playing with. Right. It's the same thing when a player's got a manager who they feel is a top level manager. They want to play for the manager more because they trust the manager more, right? It's the same as the players. If the players have players they trust more, they can express themselves more and they play with more confidence, right? When they've got players who they don't trust, like Kudus and Xavi have got players around them they don't trust in an attacking sense, of course they don't feel as confident because they haven't got the options, they haven't got the freedom to play the way they know they can play because they've got shit players in front of them or around them. And this is exactly, it's like if I'm playing in a football team and I've got good class players around me, I know I'm gonna play better because I'm more confident that we're gonna affect the game more because I've got much more quality and technical players around me. But if I've got shit around me, it's like the pressure's on you to perform, right?
No,
you can't be the only person who performs to win a football match. You have to have a team. It's a team game.
Right. Today is a good thing because the owners will see. Everyone can see how far off Arsenal we are.
Yeah, 100%.
It's a good thing. It's not a bad thing. They can see it. If they want to do something, if the owners who have knocked back 3 pieces of interest from potential buyers, I think one of them dropped out anyway because two of the group of fans, 2 of the consortium dropped out, the Americans, but they've turned down 2 other cast iron offers evidently. If they are serious, then they've got to do something about it and they've got to spend big money. If they don't, it's a waste of time. They may as well sell the club.
Yeah, but
because if they don't back Frank or whoever it is, nothing is going to change, and the longer it goes on, the more the top clubs win the trophies and we don't. The more they become more what's the word? Not inviting, more attractive as a club to go to, and we become less attractive. So for me, now this transfer window and the summer are absolutely crucial for our short-term future at Spurs. If they're not going to spend the money, they're not prepared to do what they need to do, and we need to buy. Listen. We're not going to pick up 8-10 players. We need 15 players, whatever it is. We're not going to. That's not going to happen. If we don't go in January and maybe get 1 or 2, if we don't get another 3 or 4 in the summer, then they may as well walk away. Seriously, because
the owners are owners, mate. I'm fed up with just talk about the owners. I'm talking about the football team right now. Right?
The players aren't there.
He will get the season, but he will get the season. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. He will get the season if he will get the season. This is why I don't like this talk about he needs time. It's nonsense. He will get the season if he's still here. Let me finish because I've been waiting. Being patient. My point is he will get the season regardless if he stays in the top 10. There's no question about it. We don't need to worry about it. Yeah. If we sack the manager, he's in the top 10. It's ridiculous. Right? The point is though, is that what is he going to do to show that he's going to move his team forward in terms of moving us to the next level. That's where the
Alex.
issue is
Bad
at the
quality.
moment. And
How
at the
do you-
moment,
right,
from
hold
what
on,
I've
answer your
seen,
question.
from what I'm
No.
seeing, okay, I don't know if he's got the minerals to do it at the moment.
Alex,
Right?
can I ask
From
a
what I've
Hang on,
seen.
James,
So-
Alex, answer your question. How do you think he takes the team on to the next level? How would
Well,
you do
trying
it?
to use the place the best that they've got at the moment.
No. The players aren't good enough. You could see
Well,
it
yeah,
today.
but you say, okay, but
You
what
can
if he
see-
doesn't get the plays in January, Lubo? What if he doesn't get the plays in January?
You might get one or
That's
two.
a different conversation.
How do you do it? How
Exactly.
do
So
you
that's
do
the
it?
point. So he's got to make the most of what he's got because
Well,
we said we
yeah,
need
he
a
is.
coach.
He is.
Well, so that's the point. So what I'm saying is, at the moment, right? Because today was an example of that he could have done better with those wing backs at the moment. Because those wing backs didn't do
talking about?
anything more to hurt us at the moment. To
What
try and
else?
attack
Can I-
the team.
Alex,
That's the
hang on,
thing at the
Alex,
moment.
Alex, hang on,
we can't
Alex,
hold
hang
the
on, Luke, hang on, Alex, hang on. This is exactly when I talked about we're in an era of 2025 of now. Unfortunately, you are just representing that band of people I talked about brilliantly. This is the first time in a proper game we've played wingbacks. Right? It's the first time. And we do it at Arsenal, the best club in the country, right? And we're going, well, we saw it today. You can't take the team on until we didn't get more out of the wingback. Hang on. It's one, it's the first game. Two, everyone's been crying out for it, right? Three, Alex, you just said just then, it doesn't matter what players he's got. Of course it matters. Now, let me swap the name Frank. It doesn't matter which manager Spurs have, whether it's Frank. I'll tell you what, Alex, let's sack Frank tonight, okay? Let's say we all finish this show and we flick on Sky Sports News. Thomas Frank has been sacked. Fine. Brilliant. Spurs bring in Glasner, right? Everyone's salivating over Glasner and Iriola. Brilliant. I like them both as coaches as well, right? We bring in Glasner this weekend. Glasner has got the same players, right? Let's say we go another 12 Premier League games, and in those 12 Premier League games, we have exactly the same amount of points. We've gone 12 games, 5 wins, 3 draws, 4 defeats, 18 points.
Right.
Are we then getting to the end of that 12 games and going, Glasner, he doesn't adapt because he only plays wing backs. Right, Glasner, you're not the man. See you later. Right. Okay, we're now in January. Who are we getting in for the next 12 games? The problem is, Alex, if we keep doing this, at some point we're going to have to say, could it be that the players aren't good enough?
Frank, though.
No, I know you didn't. No, Alex, I know you didn't. But when we're saying, when you're saying it doesn't matter what players he's got, of course it matters what players any manager's got. If it didn't, hang on, if it didn't matter what players any manager has got, why did Liverpool spend 450 million this summer? If it doesn't matter what players you've got,
What about Arsenal, Sam?
No.
Right?
It's
Hang on,
the point I'm
Alex,
making. You're going.
No, but the point you said it doesn't matter, and Lubo questioned you on it, and you said no, it doesn't matter. If it doesn't matter what players you've got, why did Man City, right? Why, when Pep turned up, did Pep go, I don't like any of these 4 fullbacks. None of them can play the way. I'm going to go and spend 200 million on 4 fullbacks. I'm going to buy a brand new keeper. This hasn't worked in year 1. See you later. Of course it matters about what players you've got. But the problem with our fan base, I'm going to say this, we overrate so many average footballers. We overrate so many average footballers.
Yeah.
And
So
what happens
you know
is,
that I agree with you there, don't you?
But-
You know I agree with you there, don't you?
but if
But you
you-
know I agree with you there, don't you? When
Alex-
I say I don't rate these players that you're talking about, but I'm saying at the moment is that
so then surely it doesn't matter.
No, yeah, but what I mean by that, I don't matter, because at the moment I can't think about January at the moment. I can't think about the summer at the moment. I'm thinking about what the season ahead and what we've got in front of us at the moment with the players
Sure.
we've got at the moment. I can't. Unfortunately, I'd love to. I do not. You know this, Savva, because I've said this how many times to you. I'm not in that club of saying that I like Mattis Tell. I never liked Mattis Tell. I don't like Alderbear, right? I don't rate Burval, right? Okay, I'm into the far as saying I'm not really that much fair with Kudo, was it Kulu as well? Right, I mean, you know about my feelings about Richarlison. So, but I'm just saying at the moment he's got to make do with the squad he has got at the moment, and
I
then
understand.
He is.
and that's where I'm at the moment. I just think
So what
the
you're saying
disappointment.
is, well, obviously you've spoke for ages now, so let me kind of have my say. What
Ages.
you're saying,
I haven't spoken for ages. I've only spoken
you're
for a little bit.
what you're saying is you're judging right now by what you've seen. So you would have sacked Pep Guardiola in his first season
I
because
didn't
he
say
had.
that.
Let me fucking talk, man. We've just
Well,
listened to you for ages.
I didn't say that though. Didn't I say sack him?
Oh my goodness, man! Seriously, fucking hell.
In fairness, James, he didn't say.
No, but let me say my point. Let me say my point because what I'm doing is I'm giving an example. He's saying I'm judging from what I'm seeing. Yes, that's what he said. Yeah, Man City before Pep come in won the league. Correct? He come in. They finished fifth that season. His first season, he come in.
Something like that.
Fourth,
So,
isn't it?
so if Man City fans would have gone, you know what? I'm judging by what I'm seeing. Get rid. Arteta come in. Team finished fourth. He come in, finished eighth. Was it eighth their first season? Well, I'm only judging by what I'm seeing.
Fifth.
Let's
I
get
didn't
rid of
say sack him though.
it. Oh my! But we're judging by what we're seeing. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
but it doesn't matter. Yeah, but just because I say I judge what I'm seeing doesn't mean I'm going to sack him. Again, you don't listen to the actual wording what I'm saying. Again, I think we're getting twisted here.
So what I'm saying is, if we can only judge by what we see, so we're really not happy with everything that's going on, but we want him to stay.
Okay,
Yeah.
so if we can't judge what we're seeing, okay, I'm going to say it again. Like Danny's heard me say this before, right? Let's just cancel this season. Can cancel all streams. Don't do these streams. Don't do any YouTube shows. Get that to next season and forget about this season then, right? So just forget all this season then. Because this is what I'm fed up with hearing from Tottenham fans. Yeah, we're here. No, it's not ridiculous. No, because this is why I get fed up. Yeah, we're here as football fans to judge what we see. It's not saying that I want to get rid of Frank, because if I'm getting rid of Frank, I need to get somebody else in, and I can't think of that at the moment. Right?
Yeah, but
what I'm seeing at the moment is just saying.
You say no. It doesn't matter when we sign players. It doesn't matter when we got this.
No, yeah,
but it does
at the
matter.
moment, can we sign players at the moment, James?
All of it links into one, and it's a process, Alex. You don't go into your new job, right, and know everything the day one, and then what we're going to say is, well, what's the point you being here for the first year because you don't know what you're doing?
But James, you're making a relevant point right now. What I'm saying at the moment is that I'm saying for what I'm seeing, because the season's still running, right? And you're allowed to judge what you're seeing by what you're seeing on the pitch at the
and none of us said any otherwise.
Okay, you can allow to do it because if you can't judge what you're seeing, if you're saying that he's going to give him a pass for next season, we shouldn't be watching this season then. Because there's nothing to really watch. We don't need to see it anymore. We don't need to judge anything what we're seeing at the moment. Then.
Again, you're not answering my question. You keep saying the same thing over and over again. Who said you can't judge it from what you're seeing?
Well, yeah, but you're saying to me that
we've just had a 2-hour-long stream where all of us have gone, Frank should be playing slightly further up. Frank should be pressing higher. We've just had a 2-hour stream saying exactly the same things. So we all debated what we've seen. You're not making any point.
No, I'm making a point. I wasn't watching your stream. I wasn't watching the earlier show. I wasn't watching the earlier show. I wasn't watching the earlier part of the show. I'm just making the point.
That's your problem.
Don't get personal, James. Don't get personal, James.
I'll tell you what, guys.
My point is, mate, there's nothing personal in that, what I've just said. There's nothing personal at all. Our point was, if we signed a Semenyo, a Tony, and a midfielder, the team will get better. Even if the coach doesn't, the team will get better.
Again,
I want to end, guys. I want to end the show, because otherwise I think we could be going around forever. What I will say is, and this comment kind of sums it up a little bit. If you take a little bit of a step back, this comment sums it up. And where was it? I bet I can't find it now. Somebody said, I knew I wouldn't be able to find it. Somebody said, you've got to remember, in the last 5 games we've played Villa, Man United, Chelsea, Arsenal, right? In the last 5 games, we've had those 4. We're only 3 points off the top 4. It could be worse. I think what we've got to see now is we've got to get into Fulham. We've got to get the win against Fulham at home, steady the ship. And for me, Lubo, you and I talked about this the other day. Just think, get into January in touch, getting intact,
Touching distance.
getting intact, get a few players and let's see. But listen, I get it. I understand why fans are upset. Listen, I'm upset. Bearing in mind, I know as a YouTuber, you're not allowed to apparently have any feelings, but I'm upset when I see Spurs getting slapped up by Arsenal. I don't like what I saw. But I don't like this notion that because I back Thomas Frank means that I don't put any blame on him. There's many things I want to see different from Thomas Frank. But I will not change my opinion from the summer as to where this squad is. All right? Last thing I'll say before I do the super chats and end. Lots of people keep saying, oh, you weren't like this with Frank, with Ange. Ange finished 17th with 22 defeats. Let me assure you of something, guys. If Thomas Frank finishes 17th with 22 defeats, I'll say it right now, I am Thomas Frank out. There you go. I can't be any clearer. If Thomas Frank has us anywhere near 17th at the end of this season, I have big issues with that. But right now, we're talking about league positions, and I'm going to show everyone the table before we finish. Right? Right now, when we look at the league table, right, it is ridiculous in there, right? You look at it. So we could say Liverpool are 11th. If they win next week, they could go 4th. Same with Spurs. Same with Bournemouth. So there's so many moving parts. Right?
Newcastle are 14th, I think.
So, yeah, Newcastle are 4th. Listen, I think there's a long way to go. One of the other key things that I don't think anyone's talked about today, and that's why I knew my troll would be in here at some point, right? There's a huge difference, right? There's a huge difference. In Andy's first season, we played one game a week, right? I truly believe, now I could be misguided here, I truly believe if Thomas Frank had the luxury right now of only playing at weekends, I think we would be seeing more pressing and something very different. Right now, I don't think this squad, Lubo, I said this to you a million times in the summer, I don't think this squad is in anywhere near the shape or readiness to be playing in 4 competitions in 1 year. I think it's barely good enough to be playing Premier League. So let's wrap up. Sorry, someone's saying, but Savva, what if he doesn't win anything and finish, say, 10th and won a cup? Yeah, but Faz, the thing is, we can't judge year on year. Do you know what I mean? That's like saying if Arne Slot this year finishes 3rd after winning the league last year, should he be sacked? Like he didn't do as well as the year before, but you know, you can't just. Anyway, I'm going to do some super chats. Listen, I just think let's give it a bit of time. Thomas Frank's got a lot of work to do. We knew he had a lot of work to do, and if he didn't know, he does know now. Big up to Coys 72. I said, evening, gents. Guess no point asking the mood. I think after a while you get to the age where you kind of know how to deal with the annoyance of it. But big up to you. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Chris has said, I think the question is, if Thomas Frank can turn this around, can't turn this around, who can? And when we're saying turn around, I mean, I don't think anything dreadful. Like right now, we could beat Fulham and be right back up there. So listen, surely we're going to give a manager some time, aren't we? But what I would be interested to see, guys, sorry if going off on a tangent, I'd be really interested to see if we brought in a Glasner and he only played wing backs and it wasn't working at any stage, how quick would we get on his back for not being adaptive? How quick would we get on Iriola's back for not changing how he plays? And those are managers that had the time to go into clubs who play once a week and build their team. So very, very different. Big up to you. And Marios, who's just getting sillier and sillier by the week. So one of the worst managers at Spurs ever. Get out now. I mean, I don't know. I think I've just got to laugh at one of the worst managers ever. He's 3 points off top 4, man. I mean, like, what are we doing here? Dean Law, big up, always with the super stickers. Really appreciate you, Dean. Thank you so much, buddy. Very, very generous. Big up to Alf. How you doing, Alf? Said, don't worry, lads. It's Tottenham. Cheeky git. How did your Man City get on this weekend, eh? How did your Man City get on? By the way, just for reference, just for reference, Tottenham have lost as many games as Manchester City this season. A Man City squad might cost about 2 billion or something. So let's get off his back a little bit. Big up to you. Big up to Aslan, who said Amrim's United have played Arsenal 4 times and given them a tough game each time. So stop using the excuse of quality gap for that level of performance. No, the performance was disgusting today. I love people like Aslan who pay me for me to rip into them and rip them apart. No one's excusing it. I think the quality gap is absolutely there. I thought we got it wrong on the day and we should have put in a better performance. By the way, Ruben Amorim's been at Man United for a year, has he? Now he's been at Man United for a year. It's a bit of a difference. Let's see where we are this time next year. Big up to Jordan Coys. Thank you very much. Said, I watched Brighton and Danny Welbeck gets in our team and none of our fans would want him. Bang on. When Danny Welbeck gets into our team in 2025, you know your recruitment has been a shambles. Jordan, absolutely brilliant post. I watch Forest, I watch Brighton, I watch Brentford. I'm looking at some of their recruitment and going, where have they picked these players up from and we can't? Bang on, Jordan. And he's come back in again, very generous, and said Jurgen Klopp lost 4-1 to us at Wembley. And from then on, they went and signed Van Dijk, Fabinho, Mane and Alisson. And it completely transformed them. Maybe Frank isn't the manager, but this squad needs 3 or 4 game changers. Jordan, as I tried to say before Sean stopped me earlier, I'm not married to a manager. If it needs to be a new manager, fine. Whoever that manager is, Jordan, needs some game changes. You are absolutely bang on. So thank you so much. So it is what it is. Listen, at the end of the day, guys, I'm going to leave it there. What will be, will be. I just don't know if I've got the energy, guys, to go through another managerial change this quick. Like, it's just draining, and I don't know where we go from there. Alex, thank you very much. James, thank you. Lubo, thank you. Danny, thank you. Big up to Sean, who came on as well, and Manny, who came on as well. Thank you for everyone today. I appreciate everyone who's been sensible. Too many trolls today. Whenever Spurs lose, the trolls just seem to multiply like gremlins. And I'm going to send you over to, let's see who's live. Hardly anyone is live. I'm going to send you over to Sarcasm City. When you get over to there, just say Savva Raid or FHTV Raid. Much love. Take care. And as always, come on, you Spurs.